Racing!
Live. Hello, and good evening, Sector 1 sim racing fans from Australia, New Zealand, and around the world. I am your host this evening, Atom, and I will be bringing you the entertainment from lovely Sardinia, Italy here. We've got some great weather over here on the Italian coast, and tonight's action comes to you from the Sardinia road course. Today we are using the C layout, the shortest layout with a nice short lap for our drivers, and we are changing it up a bit this evening for our, I believe, second sprint race event of the season. Tonight I'm joined by two fantastic co-hosts. The first to be joining me will be D-Flow, a familiar name in the box. How are you doing, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm not too bad whatsoever. So D-Flow will be directing and co-commentating for the Auto 1 Challenge race this evening. And for the Supercup race, we will be joined by a new member in the box, Cruisin'. How are you doing, mate?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to have you in the box, man. You're looking forward to... This is your first time in the box, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Well, they brought the cushions to the box this week for the special occasion as well. They don't usually do that for me, but they decided to bring them this week.
Yes,
must be for your first time. Well, good on them. But in any case, we will be kicking off, first of all, before we get to the Super Cup, with Group A Challenge. Now, D-Flow, I believe we've got a... after qualifying, we've got a grid place penalty to apply.
That's correct, yes. So DAS 930T will have a 2 group place penalty at the end of qualifying, and that's the only one we have.
All right, and that leads us in from a 10-minute qualifying session into a 20-minute race. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So having a look at the track map here that you've got on your screen at the moment for the road track C here at Sardinia. 2.66 kilometers in length with 10 corners. That comes from the official document. We had a quick count here at Sector 1 and we calculated it was slightly less, but we've gone with the by-the-book look into it. 6:20 a.m. sunrise conditions here in Sardinia. Lovely weather, so no chances of rain for us today. So the layout for tonight is a bit different. We've gotten a bit used to the dual tyre compound racing that we've had throughout the season. Tonight's race will be a sprint race format. We're starting off with a 10-minute qualifying session as normal, which will set the grid for the first 20-minute sprint race, and then the feature race, which is another 20-minute sprint race, will have its grid based on the finishing order from the first race. And because of the length of races, we have abolished the mandatory tyre regs, and I believe only the soft compound tyre is available this evening. The mediums might be available, but I think anyone would be a little bit foolish to try them in this particular event. Are they available for use, D-Flow?
No, so it's strictly only racing softs tonight.
And we're not expecting to see any pit stops today, are we?
We are, yes, so there's one mandatory pit stop for each segment.
Okay, so a mandatory pit stop for each sprint race, so the first 20 minute and the second 20 minute. So I imagine because of the length of the races and the length that we've seen the drivers get to with the soft tyres in the previous races leading up to this point, we're probably going to see a pit stop about halfway through the race or a little bit earlier to try and get an undercut on the drivers around them, because people have been getting close to the 20-minute mark on their soft tyres at most tracks so far. Although I think the tyre wear at this track is quite high because it is quite a aggravating track. You have to be very aggressive around it all of the time, a lot of high intensity, so I'm expecting because it's such a short track, the drivers have had a lot of time to learn it. There's only few corners that you really need to master here, but because of that, every single mistake that anyone makes, and there won't be many of them, but every single one that is made is going to matter a whole lot more than it usually does here at Sardinia. So for the first race, D-Flow, have you spotted anyone who's looked particularly flash in practice?
Yes, so the first few characters as drivers, I should say, that have really stood out so far in practice are Wakey and Bumcrack. They've been the couple of standouts so far from what I've seen in practice times.
Now that's Young Wakey, just to clarify, isn't it?
That's correct. Yes, that's Young Wakey for those watching at home.
Young Wakey, who has smashed his way into Group A of the Sector 1 Challenge here. Just to go over the points table a little bit, I know you guys don't have that on your screen at the moment, but just to update everyone now that we're at round 6 of, I believe, an 8-round season. Correct me if I'm wrong there, D-Fly. I think that's right.
It's just been, we've just had a recent calendar change, so now that's going down to 7 rounds. We did have round 7 at Alsace, but that's been given the chop to help coincide with the launch of Gran Turismo 7.
Right, so round 7, which is the next round, will be the Le Mans Enduro, won't it?
That's correct, yes.
Right, so with 2 rounds to go then, the Group A Challenge is currently led by Evil Evo 9, who is on his debut season here at Sector 1 for Lightning Motorsport. So he's been really, really good this season and has managed to keep himself ahead of the really high contenders like Mr. Bumcrack and Airborne this season. So what do you think of that title fight that they've got on at the moment?
It's been a cracking one. To be quite honest, I haven't seen much from Evil Evo just yet this round, but with that being said, anything's possible. It could be the old gamesmanship sort of stuff, waiting for Bumcrack to post a few lap times and then, oh no, I can beat that. All that sort of gamesmanship.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think it tends to be a bit of a habit for Evil Evo that he doesn't actually put too many laps in the lobby practice sessions that we have here while we set up for the race event, just not to show, so as to not show too much of his hand. I think Honourably Airborne, there's only a 1-point difference between himself and Bumcrack in second place, and then there's 19 points to Evil Evo in P1, so a big lead there for the Lightning Motorsport driver, and a very close fight, second, third and fourth. Daz 930 involved in that as well. Young Wakey as well, 105 points, only 4 points back from Daz. Could get himself into the podium on his debut season as well. So we could be set to see a lot of changes. Everything's still to play for. One person who I think we should really watch out for is the Bad Doc, who's currently sitting mid-table in Group A here, P8 with 97 points. But he's been up and down between Group A and B for a couple of reasons, if memory serves, and he's been really on pace here in the Sector 1 Auto 1 Challenge. So I think he's also someone else to watch out for. So with all that that admin being said, are we prepared to get our qualifying underway?
Yes, we are. I've just put the message to the drivers now, so let's get qualifying underway.
Alrighty, so 10 minutes of qualifying for our drivers here around the Sardinia C layout circuit. We'll get you guys onto the track screen very shortly once the guys kick off. So we've just begun that qualifying session. 10 minutes to set a lap time. Tyre wear is still on. I believe fuel is still going to be applied, so they'll start off with a full tank here at the circuit. And,
that's correct, yes.
Once they get out there, it's all to play for, really.
Correct, yeah. So you're still going to have to go through the motions of much like the normal segments of qualifying we would have throughout the season. You burn as much fuel as possible, you know, string your laps together at the right time, you know, now, have a clear section of track.
This is very interesting. Straight off the bat, I see the 2 Auto 1 cars nose to tail here. Now, do we think the slipstream will be a significant factor in the qualifying sessions here?
I certainly think so. You could be looking at anywhere between 3 to 4 tenths if it works out to your liking. So that may be the difference between pole and, dare I say, with how close some of the lap times have been, that could be the difference between 1st and 6th.
Yeah, it is a very, very short track, so that lap time is there's not a lot of margin for error, really. So Bumcrack leads Bad Doc for the first flyer. We hardly even have time to introduce the drivers on the outlap because it's such a short lap. So these guys will head through the motions for lap 1 here. Bad Doc with the slipstream advantage as they come through turn 2 and 3. So what sort of times have we been seeing from these guys so far in this practice session?
So the fastest times I've seen so far are typically a 51.7, 51.8. However, I don't know if they were on qualifying runs, so we could potentially be seeing a mid-51.
So mid 51 probably the goal time, and I would suspect that Bad Doc would be going for something close to, if not better than that, early on with the slipstream here. He's had a pretty tidy lap so far by the look of things, so we'll see what happens when they come across the line. A great exit there from Mr. Bumcrack. He's really got that last corner nailed down. What do we think of that last corner in terms of difficulty and how they set it up here?
Oh, it's very, very hard. I feel like if you approach the corner flat out from the previous right-hander, you compromise your entry and likewise your exit. So you've really got to focus on the exit naturally, considering you've got that massive straight coming out of it. So it's
a tough one to get right, isn't it? And
that's
I think it might get a little bit hairy in the race, but the Auto 1 guys will stay together. I imagine we'll start seeing the lap times tumble down as we come into the lower fuel stages of this qualifying session. Quick note on our championship leader at the moment has gone straight to provisional pole here. Evil Evo in the Merlin car there, rocking a black and green livery. That's a new one, I think, and he's followed by his teammate there as well. Who's just dipped into the pits as well, airborne.
Yeah, that's right. And Bumcrack's only 7 thousandths of a second slower than Evil Evo, so that's very, very close up top.
Oh yeah, Bumcrack's gone a bit faster on that lap as well, so he's got himself into the 51s there, I think, which is pretty crucial early on. I've seen him, I think, doing consistent 51.9s, but I think the difference maker here is going to be that 0.7, 0.6. That's what's going to be what's taking the pole position. But two Auto 1 cars have stayed out for quite long here. I suspect this will be their in-lap. But I'll be very interested to see what they do. Meanwhile, Evil Evo's got a little bit of a slipstream from the Tamar car's vehicle here. But I suspect he'll also be on his way into the pits. It's about that point. They've done 2, maybe 3 laps, and it's time to get some fresh boots on with plenty of time left in the session. So Carbon Boy goes in. He's currently sitting P4, so looking good for him. Bad Doc straight to the top. Nice one. There we go. So that's that slipstream coming into effect as well, isn't it?
Correct. And they actually stayed out for that extra lap too. So odds are they'll be in this coming this lap. Get their fresh set of boots. They might even pull the old switcheroo and have Darkside give Bumcrack the toe for the last segment.
It's turn to take one for the team. I think you got to switch it up a little bit. And we've seen a lot of this in qualifying so far this season from a couple of drivers, and it looks like the tactic is filtering down to some of these different divisions here with the Auto 1 cars doing it. We've seen FSR Corgi and FSR Kiwi Raikkonen in Supercup A. Crucially, they're the one I think everyone's really noticed, especially after the race at Spa.
That's right. Yeah, it seems to everyone's sort of caught on to that whole teamwork, if you like, that tactic, I suppose, of giving each other a toe and working together to try and maximise your group position.
It looks like most of the guys here are going for a 2-stint qualifying session, so they're actually just going to pit around the 5-minute mark and just call it 2 sessions instead of pitting every other lap, which is what most people used to do. But I think given the length of the track, they're able to go for a couple of laps here.
That's correct.
Airborne up to P4 there. Oh, there's an Auto 1 car on the side of the track. I hope that doesn't get in anyone's way. No, he's no problem. Stays out of the way. Very good there. I think that was Bad Doc. Yeah, it was. Airborne up to P4. Very good. So they'll be happy to have 2 cars in the top 4 there. The Lightning Motorsport team.
That's correct. So you've got a Ragged Edge and Lightning Motorsport locking out the first 2 rows so far. Carbon Boy there in P5 is only 900ths off Airborne, so that's ridiculously close between the top 5.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to it. I think all 5 of those guys, I think everyone in the whole lobby is going to improve yet again. So it's all set to change, but these guys have staked their claim nice and early. Bad Doc especially has got himself a nice convincing 51.8 to start off. There goes Airborne, improving again. Currently staying in P4 though. Grassy's up to P6, so not quite breaking into the 52s there, so 51s rather. So I presume that's P5 is the first of the non-sub 52 lap times, isn't it?
That's correct, yes. So Carbon Boy's got a 52.1 and Honourably Airborne has a 51.988.
Okay, so are the Auto 1 cars still together on track? They're not. So they've ditched the teamwork policy in favour of every man for himself.
Yes.
And Evil Evo dives into the pits with 73 litres of fuel left on board, so he'll be putting his final set of tyres on. Probably get himself 2 more laps out of these with these tyres, I would imagine, or with the time left on the clock, rather.
That's right. Yeah, I'd say he'd be getting 2 more flyers after this. Now, he's come out behind Carbon Boy and Bumcrack, so interestingly, that might actually work to his advantage. He can just give himself a tiny bit of a gap so that when he gets his last 2 flyers, he can basically use that tow to his advantage. Now, Wakey's just gone up to 5th with a 52.037. That puts him up into 5th, which is half a tenth.
That Revolution.
That's very, very good.
Looks really nice, doesn't it? That black and
Oh,
yellow.
it's amazing.
Love that. Looking flash as.
Definitely. It's definitely pops, definitely stands out on stream. It's one car that you won't miss.
Right, so we jump on board now with Evil Evo, who's finishing... I think he's finishing his outlap, actually. So we'll have a look more at what Mr. Bumcrack's doing. Across the line he comes. That's his 51.856. That's provisional pole and a front row lockout, a provisional front row lockout for Auto 1 Ragged Edge Racing. So that, if that stays as it is, they're going to have the front row all to themselves and they'll be absolutely laughing all the way to the bank, I think, with that one. Now, who was it that has the grid place penalty that we have yet to apply?
It's Daz. So currently he's sitting 10th in the qualifying standards, so he'll really hope to make a bit of a gain, because at the moment that's going to put him 12th on the corrected order.
I
now,
think
as I
we've
say
seen
that,
a 51.9 from Daz in practice, so I'm sure
correct.
he's capable.
Yes, definitely. I've just hopping on board with Evil Evo. He's gone purple in Sector 1 by 200ths of a second.
Look at this.
So
he's got a slipstream from Carbon Boy as well. This is absolutely perfect. He could not have timed this any better. I guarantee it. This is provisional pole right here. It might even be the pole lap.
Oh, 1,000th of a second slower. But Bumcrack, a 51.7.
Yeah.
See you later.
Oh, wow. Where's that come from? That's fantastic. I think, no, you were saying actually, he's done times like that so far tonight, hasn't he?
That's correct, yeah. So
that's
certainly
completely unassisted as well. I'm very surprised there that Evil Evo couldn't pull out a faster lap.
Yeah.
Because he had that slipstream for that final sector as well, which is very interesting.
Correct. It could potentially be that he might be getting held up a fraction by Carbon Boy in this last segment of corners, but wow, I did not expect him to actually go slower on that lap.
Well, 50 odd seconds left on the clock. These guys will all get one more lap to cement their position on the grid and see what they can do. No slipstream. Oh no, he goes for a slipstream there. Evil Evo does. Down towards the line. No improvement
still slow.
yet again. Can't quite do it. So as it sits, Auto 1 is going to take the provisional front row. There's Daz popping himself up into 8th place. So that's an improvement that he sorely needed. And he's got one more lap to get himself into that top 5 if he can.
Definitely.
Bad Doc not improving that lap either.
No. Just looking a bit further down, Good Doc's just improved his time. Ironically, hasn't improved by the margin is so small that he's only 100th of a second off Jim Bob in 12th. So it's the times are just ridiculous between these drivers. You're looking at hundredths of a second.
With a track this short, I'm absolutely not surprised. The margin for error here is so minimal. I think what we missed there, though, Dadson's got himself up into 4th place here and split the 2 Lightning Motorsport cars. So Bumcrack's come across the line there. He goes provisional pole. Bad Doc is going to hold provisional P2 here. Evil Evo has finished up, so he cannot improve. Dadson's still on a lap. VF goes across the line with a 52.7, does not get himself within the top 8. Dadson here, is he going to improve? He's got a slipstream to the line. There's a couple of cars still to come. Airborne there as well. No improvement there. Airborne comes across the line. No improvement as well. And that's all she wrote. So, Ragged Edge Racing lock out the front row. How good is that?
I'm sure Troy, Big Guns, he'll be wrapped with that. Now, Germano just rolls across the line, so he's definitely not going to improve his final lap. And that is qualifying done.
Fantastic. So Daz will drop down to P11 there. We will red flag the race to apply the grid place penalty. In the meantime, a little bit of a chat about that qualifying session. So Ragged Edge Racing staking a massive claim on this this round 6 here at Sardeña Road Course C for the Auto 1 Challenge. Locking out the front row. How good is that?
Definitely.
You couldn't really ask for a better start if you're the Ragged Edge team owner.
No, definitely not. It's not going to get much better than that.
So I think that will be Bumcrack leading Bad Doc from that front row, and I suspect there'll probably be a fair bit of teamwork there to try pull away from the remainder of the team. I see there GDR's just popped into the chat, another Ragged Edge driver who's yet to race tonight in Super Cup Group A. Really happy with that 1 and 2, so proper job there. But of course, it's not where you finish in qualifying, it's all about where you finish at the end of the race, and they've got 2 races to contend with, so double the opportunity. Even if they pull away and absolutely dominate the first race, they could be undone by a what would essentially be a restart for the second race.
That's right, and that's part of the fun with these sprint races. So you can be a bit strategic. Getting tongue-tied. You can be a bit strategic with how you go about this race. You can naturally we only pay points for the second segment, so most people will more or less use the first segment. If they've qualified really bad, they'll use that first segment to try and claw their way back up towards the front, and then naturally go for it in the second segment.
Yeah, a sprint race is arguably a racer's ideal situation because he gets 2 chances to make up for a poor qualifying, so that can be really useful. Another important note on how the sprint races operate here at Sector 1, the fastest lap point, we do have a fastest lap point that gets awarded every event and every race as part of the championship points. That fastest lap point is awarded to the fastest lap out of the 2 races. So if in the first race, Bad Doc, for example, sets a 51.6 in the start of his second stint, for example, and then in the second race after the grid gets restarted, Mr. Bumcrack goes for the fastest lap in the second race and gets a 51.7. That fastest lap point will be awarded to Bad Doc for his fastest lap in the first sprint race, because out of the 2 fastest laps, Bad Doc's was faster. So that gives you an idea of how the setup's going to look for this particular event. So just to go back over our layout for this evening, Sardinia Road Track C, you can see the map there in a anti-clockwise direction. So this is the what you would call the forwards layout, because of course the Sardinia road courses all have a reverse layout. They're called layout 2. This is Road Track C layout 1. So it is an anti-clockwise direction leading into a left-hander for turn 1. And 10 corners for the drivers here, and a 2.66 kilometer circuit, the shortest race track on the calendar for Sector 1 this season. And that final corner is the one that's going to prove the most difficult for most of our drivers, because the braking zone includes an area where you do need to be turning. So it can be a bit of a problem for a lot of our drivers. So of course it is a sprint race layout this weekend with a 20-minute race to set the grid for the feature 20-minute race, for which the championship points will be awarded. So a bit of a different one, a little bit difficult to keep up with sometimes if you're new to how we set things up here, but it will be an exciting bit of racing. We've had fantastic sprint race events in the past, and I'm sure that this will be no different. We've had them at Dragon Trail, and I believe we had one this season, and I forget which track it was, but I just remember just being on the edge of my seat for the entire race, and I think it'll be more of the same here tonight. And of course this sprint round layout applies to both Group A Challenge and Group A Super Cup, both of which will be racing tonight. And then of course next weekend we'll have the same layout for Group B of each of the respective championships. So the Auto 1 Challenge, brought to you by Auto 1, and the Next Level Racing Super Cup, which Next Level Racing so generously sponsor for us. So we're just having a couple of technical difficulties with the lobby situation. Of course, it wouldn't be Gran Turismo Sport without a lobby issue, as we usually get. But thankfully, the new game is just around the corner. So if you haven't pre-ordered your GT7 as of yet, the release date is the 4th of March, and Sector 1 is, of course, carrying itself over to Gran Turismo 7, and we will be applying ourselves and our championship to the new game, using the new setups and systems to bring you even better entertainment than we already do, or so we hope. So big plans ahead for Sector 1, so make sure you get the game pre-ordered, and if you're not pre-ordering, keep your eyes on the Sector 1 YouTube channel and keep up with what we're doing, because it's going to be some really, really exciting stuff. I can absolutely guarantee you that. So as we reboot the lobby, the pit lane's nice and busy. The Auto 1 guys are celebrating down there. They've got busted out the champagne already. We haven't even started the first race, but you know, it's a good day to be a Ragged Edge fan, of course. And these are the days you have. It's you know, being a Mercedes fan for Formula One was a great time for the last several years, but every team's time will come. And right now, our era of dominance falls to Ragged Edge Racing, who have, I believe they won the Teams Championship last season as well. Or it might have been the season before, I forget. But they've had some extreme success lately, so be on the lookout for more. So yeah, like I say, a great time to be a Ragged Edge fan here at Sector 1 Sim Racing. So it looks like it might be a bit more than Gran Turismo problems. Our race director for the challenge room, D-Flow, is having a little bit of trouble with his network connection and such. Getting a little bit tongue-tied myself there.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, you're still here?
For some reason my PlayStation decided to hang on the when the game crashed. It decided to hang, so I've quickly hopped on my mobile phone and everything else. So shouldn't be too much longer. But yeah, so apologies for the wait, everyone.
That's alright. It's pretty normal. As soon as you give a little bit of a shock to the Gran Turismo system, the lobbies like to close themselves down for what seems like no reason. But we'll make do, and we'll get it sorted, and we'll make something happen of it. In the meantime, predictions in chat. Anyone who thinks they know how this race is going to go, get your psychic side on and let us know who you think's going to win the first race, the second race, set the fastest lap, take top honours here tonight. Of course, you'd be a silly man to bet against Ragged Edge to not win the race here in Group A Challenge. But I think there's a couple of guys that could upset the apple cart. Of course, we had Evil Evo there qualify P3, who is currently leading the championship. It doesn't need a great deal of points to secure his championship. I think he could mathematically win it if he wins this race. Potentially, he's got quite a big lead, but it does all depend on such things. So we'll have to see. But he'll be going for the best result he possibly can. And we've got our pole sitter in chat, even. Say hello to the plumber down in the stream chat there. Congratulations on your pole lap, mate. Very, very well done. Happy to see you up the very top. Dadson heroics into T1 and wins the whole thing is the prediction from Lenosis. Very good. Well, we could see that, and that's the thing about the sprint races as well. We talked about this a little bit before, is that you can dominate that first race and that's all well and good, but as soon as the second race restarts, it's a clean slate for everyone, you know. And if there is a little bit of heroics into turn one, it can absolutely throw the entire race. So that might not be a terrible prediction, although I'm fairly confident Dadson knows how to hit that right braking marker for that T1 lap 1 kind of thing. So
correct.
Carbon Boy for a podium. Now that's a good one. I like that. Now that's an underdog story if I ever heard one, because he's got the Ragged Edge teammates as well as the championship leader ahead of him to unseat if he wants that. But I think if anyone can do it, Carbon Boy can. He's really shown that he's had pace this season, so really good person to have in there as well. Prediction: first lap drama, podium first to pit, go. Evil for the win and Gur for top 3. Oh, okay, so Evil to come through and take the win in race 2. Now that's very interesting. He's going to have a hard fight on his hand, but I don't think that's a silly prediction if I'm completely honest. No. And Gur for top 3 as well, so pretty solid selection there.
Definitely is. All right, lobby is back up, so I'm going to start trying to sort out this grid, and assuming that Gran Turismo doesn't do its Gran Turismo things,
yeah,
we shall be underway very, very soon.
And more predictions coming in. There's going to be a lot of carnage. So that's probably a fair assumption. If the guys in the front row can get away clean, they'll walk it. Yeah, I think that might be true. Because I think slipstream will be a large benefit to a lot of drivers in this race. So if the guys out front can, if the two ragged edge cars rather, can escape trouble in the first corner or two, I think they will have, the best chance of winning out of everyone else on track. Good doc for a top 14. Now, you know what? If you put money on that, I wouldn't bet against you. Lenosis agrees with the good doc prediction. I think that's the most solid prediction of the night, to be honest. A top 14
Definitely.
finish.
Yeah.
Pretty safe bet. I see you don't back an underdog there, Lucas. you got to pick the long shot. That's where all the money is, you know. We don't endorse gambling here at Sector 1 Sim Racing. Just a quick disclaimer. But yeah, I think it's going to make for a very interesting race. There's a lot of different guys that could win this particular event, and of course, leading into the final round, this is one of the last chances for these guys to scrounge some points up and give themselves a shot at the finishing position they want. The podium's hotly contested. The championship win is pretty much said and done, unless there's a major issue. So you know, it's up and down. It could go any way, but a lot of excitement to be had on track. Pete Solomon asks, will anyone be punted into the pits? Now that could that could be something that happens. I don't think you could potentially understeer into the pits. I think there's plenty of time to get out of the way, but if there is a bit of a battle there, someone might find themselves in the end of that pit wall. So hopefully we don't have too many issues like that. I don't think we saw anything like that in practice, did we, D-Flo?
No, not that I saw. A few practice starts. There were a few issues coming into turn 1, but that's just the usual thing of everyone's finding their way around. So no, thankfully we won't have anything like that.
I truly think that the first corner, turn 1 here at Sardegna Seat is going to be the main overtaking opportunity. It's going to be very hard to force a move anywhere else on track.
Yeah, I'd say so. Turn 1's probably going to be the only realistic chance. The last corner, turn 10, yeah, you would have to be well and truly side by side for anything like that to happen.
Yeah, I can guarantee you we'll see moves tried at that final corner there, the hairpin exiting the right-hander, but I think it's a very sketchy place to go for a move. But I think
definitely
the guys are ready to go for Sprint Race 1 this evening to set the grid for Race 2. Shall we set them off?
Let's do it. Definitely, let's start.
Good stuff. Okay. So Race 1 this evening, brought to you by Auto 1. Here at Sector 1 Sim Racing is about to get underway. We go to the grid now. Oh, that's the wrong... Oh no, there we go. I've got it right. My bad. Had a little bit of a misclick there, but here we are on the grid. Mr. Bumcrack has taken pole position ahead of his teammate Bad Doc. Evil Evo, your championship leader, sits in P3 ahead of Dadson, and then Lightning Motorsports' second driver on the grid, Airborne, in P5. And we are green lights. The drivers are away. Mr. Bumcrack with a not so fantastic start. Evo goes straight up to the top step of the grid.
Will we get a clean lap? Turn 1 lap. Oh, Airborne got squeezed by Datsun.
There's a little bit of issues going on back there.
Oh, Ragged Edge boys nearly took each other out just there.
So the Lightning Motorsport drivers have had a fantastic start here. Up 2 positions each into P1 and P3 respectively for Evil Evo and Honourably Airborne. So Evil Evo leads the way ahead of Mr. Bumcrack the Plumber, who took pole position and has unfortunately been dropped down into second here. And his teammate Bad Doc in the second of the Ragged Edge Racing cars is now down in P4, and he's under attack from Dadson here up the inside. At the final corner, doesn't quite get enough overlap there, but there's a significant gap now between Airborne and Darkside.
Relatively clean by everyone. Daz seems to have fallen, as I say, relatively clean. I shift all the way to the rear end, and you've got Daz back in 14th, 4 seconds behind VF, so I'd assume something's happened there for him on his first lap.
Yeah, so incidents unsurprising really with the tightness of this field and the lack of margin for error here at SARDEGNA. See, we've got a little bit of side-by-side action between Grassies and GUR17 in P9 and 10 as we head through on this second lap. So barely even a minute in and we're onto the second lap, and down through the roller coaster we go. Still as they were for the top three, Evil Evo leads Bumcrack and Airborne, the Lightning Motorsport guys, creating a sandwich effect on the Auto 1 driver there in second place. But it looks like Bad Doc has caught himself up here a little bit.
Yeah, he certainly has. He was well and truly a second or so behind at the beginning of the first lap.
We might be on for a move here as well for T1. Sorry to cut across you there.
No,
but
that's okay.
Looks to the outside, does Mr. Bumcrack, going for a move, and the Lightning Motorsport teammate there of Airborne comes up the inside, looks to take advantage of that move there as well, gets himself to the inside. Nice space left there by Mr. Bumcrack. He's got the advantage on the way down. He gets his nose ahead again as they head into turn 2, or the most meaningful of turn 2s.
Bit sideways there. Definitely.
Oh wow, that was an intense moment for these guys. I think Mr. Bumcrack would be counting his lucky stars over that one, but this is starting to shape up to be a fantastic little battle here. The top four,
we might have some contact further back.
We do.
Jackson Greatness nearly had a big accident just there.
Wow, these guys are very close on track. I'm very excited to see where this battle pack goes, though. Up the front, we've got 2 from Lightning Motorsport and 2 from Ragged Edge Racing. This is about as good as it gets for these guys. This battle could go all the way to the end of the race as Bumcrack looks to the inside. There's a bit of contact on the inside there, but I think it was accidental. A little bit too late on the brakes there for Mr. Bumcrack. Goes to the inside and taps the rear quarter of Evil Evo. A little bit of overlap there for Airborne as well, but he's not quite going to be able to get a move done here.
Gosh, these cars are really squirmy into what we call real turn 2. Honorably Airborne had the rears locked on approach. All it takes is for you to be half a metre wide on that apex, and you'll end up getting spat right out onto the exit curb, and it's game over, really.
Yeah, and this corner in particular as well, that hairpin at the end, or as we get a little bit of an inside action there
run
from Mr. Bumcrack on Evil Evo. He doesn't quite have the run on the straight though, couldn't quite get the exit, but he had a faster final corner there. But on that entry to that final corner, there's a lot of squirming going on from these drivers because they're turning and braking at the same time. Looks to the outside, does Bumcrack. He's got his nose ahead this time. Does he make the move stick? He can't quite do it. He's not quite on the gravel there, but it looks like Evil Evo's going to hold the position for now. Honorably Airborne onto the grass on the inside. That allows Bad Doc through. Mr. Bumcrack safe for now. Settles back in, and then now changing positions back and forth. It's now an Auto 1 sandwich between the 2 Lightning Motorsport cars.
Goodness, this isn't even the points-paying race, and they're playing for keeps already.
Yeah,
can't imagine what it's going to be like.
Unsurprising, because that, of course, that third position on the grid means everything right now, because we saw how crazy that start was. Of course, Evil Evo jumping straight from P3 or P4 to P1 off that grid start. So clearly, every position matters here at SARDEGNA C. If you get that start right, it could be everything. I wonder what he did to get that start.
Yeah, I'd like to know for myself, to be quite honest. That was a rocket start. It was, yeah, I don't know if Bumcrack just got an average start and Airborne had a, sorry, my apologies, Evil Evo had a really good start, or if, yeah, or maybe Evil Evo's just had he's just had the best start possible. I'm not too sure, and wow, he's actually up 2/10 first sector.
Now we've just had a change in position for P3 and P4, so Honorably Airborne gets himself up onto the podium position here in race number 1, and that little bit of battling between the pair of them has lost them the slipstream to the 2 leaders here. So Mr. Bumcrack and Evil Evo have been able to skip away from their 2 teammates respectively here on the way down the main straight here on lap number 7. No moves being made by Mr. Bumcrack this time.
No, it seems to have started to settle down a bit for the moment. I think just getting into a rhythm, they might start playing games with their the pit stop shuffles. Oh, Greatness is gone. He's just had a bit of a lose coming out of turn 1. Don't know if there was contact though.
Where's he ended up? Is he down all the way down the bottom?
He's 14th,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, Daz has made his way up to P12 after we saw him a little bit earlier.
That's right, yeah.
He had a big incident on lap 1, so he's looking very fast, I think.
Yeah, his lap times have been not too bad so far. He's in the mid-52s, so Considering the pack that he's in, I'd say that's not a bad pace. He's only lost about a second to the front runners since the race has started, so not too bad overall.
Dadson's got himself back in range of Bad Doc and Airborne up there. Bad Doc not going for a move this time around. He's getting very close to Airborne. I don't know if he's saving fuel. I presume that fuel's not an issue for these guys this race.
No, definitely not. Looking at tyres between Airborne and Darkside, Darkside seems to have a fresher right rear. So that'll mean that he can be able to get really lean on the car coming out of turn 10. Really use that grip, try and launch himself upwards and onwards into turn 1. But
so
it just seems like
he's got better tyre wear at the moment, does he?
Darkside, definitely, yes.
Okay, he has been one of those guys who's really looked after his car here at Sector 1.
Oh,
Dadson was a bit of contact on the way in there between Bad Doc and Airborne, so that might go down as an incident report later on. But for now, we get on with the action. The position changes and Bad Doc gets himself up into P3 once again. Looking back at Airborne there, Dadson still in with a shout here. And Mr. Bumcrack is really struggling to get within range of Evil Evo here on that main straight, trying to get that position back. And I think he really needs it as well, because at any moment now, it looks like Evo has the pace here. And I think that at any moment he could pull away from Bumcrack, and as soon as that slipstream is gone, it's all over, you know?
It certainly seems that way, but he has used a bit more of the car compared to Bumcrack, so I'd say it's the more aggressive sprint style approach, I guess.
The Ragged Edge team strategy.
Outside.
Whoa. Looks to the outside, goes for a late apex back, I think. Tries to get a run here. He's going to be very close now coming into turn 1 this time.
Yeah,
it looks like we've lost Airborne as well. We've lost Airborne at some point. He's dropped down to P8 there. So he's had a big incident somewhere. So this fight back should be very interesting from him, because he's looked much faster than the guys in the mid-pack for the most of this race. He's certainly been a front runner. Down into turn 1, goes for an inside move on grass. He gets a bit slidey on the inside, not quite under control. And he's going to lose more positions here, I think, potentially to Young Wakey, who's had a quiet race so far down in P8 here.
Yeah, he certainly has. So he dropped off a fair bit at the start, but as you can see, he's just slowly getting his head down and just clawing back bit by bit, setting himself up for the next segment.
We've missed a lead change here as well. Mr. Bumcrack's got himself into P1. I think we might see another lead change down into T1 here, because Evil Evo is absolutely all over the back of the Ragged Edge car. No, he dives into the pits early, goes for an undercut. This might be the strategy that breaks Bumcrack, because he might be able to get himself out of slipstream range with this pit stop.
Correct. Now, for Evil Evo, he really needs to hope that he doesn't come out into traffic, which, looking at the pit radar, I'd be surprised if he does. But he needs to really hope that he doesn't come out into any traffic. VF just comes out in front.
Oh, he's behind
that should be
VF,
okay.
But I think he's got enough space to do a lap or two without hindrance.
That should be okay, yeah. Daz looks like he's had a few more spins. He's now 19 seconds off the leaders. So it looks like he's had another shocking lap.
Yeah, he's not having the best of races as Daz, so hopefully he can make something work for him in the second race. Of course, the race that counts, race 2. Position changes up the front, nothing really too crazy going on. Carbon Boy and Bad Doc are side by side there as Bad Doc goes into the pits.
Carbon Boy's playing the long game from the looks of it, so that's 11 laps so far on the soft tyres. His tyre life actually isn't that bad compared to the other runners around him, so he might be looking to do a bit of an overcut.
Yeah, I'd say the tyre life doesn't really affect the overall pace too much. Here we go as Evil Evo comes down the main straight. Bad Dog looks like he's had a fantastic lap here. Is Evil Evo going to get by? Done. He is. Or he gets to the inside just about and gets through, but he hasn't broken the slipstream. So I think you might be right. The strength of the undercut is not particularly severe because of the low tyre wear. So that difference in pace between Evil Evo's car on that lap versus the Ragged Edge car with the worn tyres was not too severe. So you can go for an undercut here. But I think the undercut is the better strategy, because you're not going to have the cons of an undercut come back to bite you at the end because of that low tyre wear. So you can afford to go a little bit longer on your second stint and prioritise track position early, which is exactly what Evil Evo's done here. And I think it's working in his favour.
Definitely seems to be the way. Carbon Boy's in, obviously. He will probably come out 5th or 6th. Let's have a look, though.
He's come out
now.
Wow. He comes out ahead of Bad Dog, but Bad Dog's going to look to the outside here into turn 1. around the outside, sweeps through, very nice there in the Ragged Edge car on the fresh tyres. So Carbon Boy, I think it might have been beneficial there. He was side by side with Bad Dog, to be fair, before he went in. But he's played that quite well. He's managed to stay out of traffic, make sure he avoided any issues. And he's now in P4 and pretty safe as well. Dadson is not really within striking distance of him in that Bacchus car, so looks pretty good for Carbon Boy at the moment.
Certainly seems that way, and naturally he's got that extra lap or two on dark side, so just needs to apply a bit of that pressure and hopefully use that to his advantage.
Evil Evo leads Mr. Bumcrack down the main straight here, and I think we're not going to see a move from either of them on the way in. 51.9. Interesting that it's not as fast as the early laps.
No, certainly not. I'd say some of it might even be down to the qualifying tow or even just general racing. You look after your tyres a bit more and whatnot. There's a bit of a battle pack between 7th and 10th though. Yeah,
I see that. We're on board now with Airborne, who's leading this pack and who I would expect to pull away a little bit, but he's making a fight of it with a lot of these guys. Jim Bob wide into the fence. Oh, goodness me. Oh, that's got to hurt. He's straight into the Armco that sticks out there onto the track, stops you dead. That's going to deal him a lot of damage and slow his car down for a long time there, I think.
Certainly has. So that's damaged his the front right corner of that Porsche. Now, interestingly, that will be damaged more or less. We run the light damage model in Sector 1, so that will keep... That damage will more or less stick around until Turn 1, possibly Turn 2. Actually, as I say that, it's just cleared.
There between him and Greatness as they come down the straight.
Yeah, so that's really, really hurt him, and now Greatness might actually be in a position to strike.
Can't quite get anything done there, but yeah, I think that damage will have gone now. He'll be all right. In the meantime, Airborne will be trying to fight back from P7 here, I think.
Yeah, he'll have to just get his head down, or at least consolidate, finish 7th. If you can ideally get back to 6th, 5th, whatever it may be, but just consolidate and look at the points paying round, the segments in the next part.
It could get very interesting if he makes up one more position, because don't forget that when Airborne did start his career here at Sector 1 in the main season, he drove for Dadson Racing under team owner S1 Dadson 44, who currently sits in P5 here. So he's since changed teams over to Lightning Motorsport. I don't believe there's any hard feelings there, but I'm not going to pretend that there won't necessarily be. So there could be a very serious fight on the cards if Airborne gets himself up to a fighting position with Dadson up in P5. It could get very interesting.
Definitely can. Oh, Grassy's in the wall, and oh, Wakey's copped it as well. He sort of got the... as Grassy spun around, Wakey's just tapped the car as well. Obviously, nothing he could do. But wow, that's really, really hurt Grassy's. He's going to get overtaken by Germana as well, and he's got damage to boot. Oh no.
Greatness is looking a little bit laggy here as well. He's jumping around on the track a little bit. Might have to reset his router and such between races while he's in the pits.
Yes.
Get himself some reboot time. The battle for first rages on though. The front row looks like it's going to be pretty well said and done here between these two drivers, Evil Evo and Mr. Bumcrack. Question is, who's going to take that pole position for race 2? Provisionally, it looks like Evil Evo might have it, but Mr. Bumcrack's not letting him go. He's been on him for the last pretty much the entire race.
15 minutes,
so,
that's right, yeah. So, been applying that blowtorch for the whole distance of this race, and they've just skipped away. They're 5 seconds away from the Bad Dog and Carbon Boy, who are next in line, 3rd and 4th respectively. So they've well and truly skipped away.
Well, it's looking really good for the Ragged Edge boys on team points so far as well. They're currently in the best position on track for team points overall. So it's even though they're not 1st and 2nd anymore, it's still a good day for the Ragged Edge racing team.
It sure is. Just having a quick look down at the back. So Daz 930T's back in 14th. He's done some not bad lap times, a 52.2 on his last 3 laps. He's actually catching up to VF, who's in 13th, and the Good Dog, who's actually in 12th. So the Good Dog's not having the best of runs so far in this segment.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks as well that you either gel with it or you don't. And...
Grassis is gone again, and Germana's hit the fence as a result as well. So it's gone from bad to worse for Grassis.
Wow, that corner's catching a few people out, I think. That exit of the real turn 2.
Yeah, that's right. It seems to be the Dragon Trail. This seems to be the equivalent of Dragon Trail's chicane of death, basically.
Yeah, it's given us the same result, that's for sure. We thought
certainly
that it
has.
might be the pit wall coming onto that main straight that was going to cause problems like this, but apparently not. It's that exit of the real turn 2.
That's right. It almost reminds me of I've forgotten the corner number, but the Sydney Olympic Park circuit that the V8 supercars used to race on.
Yep.
2010. Yes. I don't think I need to say more than that. Yes.
Dangerous. That's one
Yes.
word for it. Well, you can have that little bit of extra danger here in Gran Turismo because of course it's not the real world. There we go. We got another driver into it. That's VF, who's been big time slowed down by that. There, he's gone straight into the wall and found himself in P14. So yeah, catching out more drivers again. I think as the tyres wear, it's becoming more of an issue as well. So
Yeah, it certainly is. It seems to be catching him out slowly. I can't even say it's fatigue either. It's only a 15 or 20 minute segment as well. So
yeah, it's a sprint race. But
Yes.
we've had a big change in situation up the front here. Mr. Bumcrack had a little bit of a mistake on the exit of turn 1, and he's fallen out of slipstream range. Of course, if you're new to the GT Sport Gran Turismo scene, the magic number for the slipstream is 0.750. You see on the relative up in the top left there, the gap between Evil Evo and Mr. Bumcrack there is now sitting at about a second. So, not if it's less than 0.750. Then Mr. Bumcrack will get assistance down any straight line area in the form of increased speed. But because he's outside of that range, he's now a second back. He no longer has that advantage. So part of me believes that may have been what kept this fight so close between himself and Evil Evo for so long. It looked like Evil Evo had a lot of confidence in his car and in his pace, but with the plumber falling out of that slipstream now, it might be a changed game, although he's now back within it as I say that. So I'm apparently the commentator's curse can work in positive ways as well, because now we've got Mr. Bumcrack within 6/10 of Evil Evo in front, so it's all back on again.
It certainly is. So on the last lap, Bumcrack lost 3.5 tenths in that first sector. On this sector alone, in the first sector of this lap, Evil Evo lost nearly half a second. So swings and roundabouts, there you go, and there's only 3 tenths between them now with 2 laps remaining.
Yeah, it couldn't even be close enough to go for a move here. So how things change, how quickly things change here. And I think I spoke about this a little bit before as well. The shortness of the track here decreases the amount of mistakes that drivers make, which makes any mistakes that are made much more crucial to the race and pivotal in the way it turns out. Oh, nearly a little bit wide there for Mr. Bumcrack, almost hitting that wall of death there that we've seen claim so many drivers tonight. We're gonna have to think of a name for that before we get into Supercup, I think.
Yeah, so looking in the comments section, Lenocious has called it the wall. Evil Evo, both, and Darkside and Bumcrack, they're both in the wall.
How's that happened?
Well, that seems to be a bit of lag though, because it looks like Evil Evo's just rocketed off.
Yeah, he has.
So I'm not sure what's happened there.
Wow. I wonder if it was a bit of lag that put Evil Evo into the wall visually on Bumcrack's screen and our screen. And oftentimes when someone outbrakes themselves, it's not uncommon for the driver behind to make the same mistake.
Correct.
And essentially follow them off. You hear that phrase quite a lot. They followed him off, or similar like that. So it may have been a case of that, and because of the lag. So that's really hard luck for Mr. Bumcrack. But the good news is the only person who's overtaken him is his teammate. So things could be a lot worse. We're of course finishing this race and going into the new grid for race 2. So through the final corner we go to end a 20-minute race, sprint race here, to set the grid for race 2. The fastest lap of a 51.625, Mr. Bumcrack. Evil Evo will take pole position for race 2. Darkside takes P2, Mr. Bumcrack P3, Carbon Boy P4, Dadson 5, Gur 6, Wakey 7th. A great race from Wakey, and Airborne down in P8, which he won't be too stoked about, but with a fresh race, he's got plenty of opportunity to make his way back up the field. So there you go.
All right.
But
wow, that was
a very dominant
eventful
performance from Evil Evo, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Yeah, he just had the best start, just basically ran with it from there. So certainly controlled that one.
Yeah, he had it in his grasp the entire race. So, yeah, that'll make a big difference, I think. So, of course, the guys from Ragged Edge Racing had that front row locked out, and that's all been thrown in the bin by a certain Lightning Motorsport driver. So, very well done to Evil Evo for winning the first race of the night. So, what do you think we should expect to see for race 2 here?
I'd say everyone's going to be playing for. Well, if everyone was playing for keeps now, I'd be curious to see how much more interesting it's going to get in the next segment. Be very interesting what's going to happen. I think realistically, Bumcracker and Darkside will be applying the blowtorch even more to Evil Evo, and they won't be playing the odd dummy move here and there. It'll be, no, I'm going for it. I'm going to send it and I'm going to go for it. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, there could be a lot of aggression on for the second one. It's a very different race, as we know. So a lot of things that could change here at the Sardinia Road Course. See a lot of incidents, of course. So we've got a name for the corner from a couple of guys, Waller Champions, the Dingle Troy for the corner. Now, I'm going to have to get you to explain that one to me, Womble, because I don't know why Troy's name gets dropped into that one, but, you know, could be good. Could be good. Could be the right thing. What do we reckon?
I think Waller Champions is probably better, to be honest.
Waller Champions. What did we call the sector one? Had a name for the chicane of death, as it's generally called by the Gran Turismo community here at Dragon Trail Seaside. We call it the Wall of Chumps here.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So Wall of Chumps, I call it the chicane of death, but Wall of Chumps is the more affectionate name within Sector 1.
So we want to go for Wall of Champions for the one here. Okay.
Yep, let's do it.
That's it. It shall forever be known as the Wall of Champions. Sardinia Road Course C. No one would have picked that as well. I reckon coming into this round, there was not a single person would have been saying that's the one that'll get everyone. You know, that's the hardest corner of the track. It's not going to be that for anyone. But of course, we're going to have to name it purely in and of because of that. And of course, calling that corner prior the real turn 2. I think we actually had a proper name for that as well. But that's more or less been thrown in the bin as well. But most definitely, the Wall of Champions, something to watch out for race 2 here. Quick look,
certainly will be.
Yeah. It's caught it. How many drivers did it catch out in that race? It was quite prominent.
From memory, so we had Grassies, VF, Germana, gosh, I think a few more than that, but yeah, there was definitely a few. So, yeah, be careful. That's all I'm going to say. There were a few of them that were getting extremely wide and very, very close to actually hitting that wall, almost playing with fire, if you like. But yeah, it's not. It's a very, considering the lap time that you end up doing, it's a very punishing corner if you get it wrong.
Okay. Well, I've just had word that the stream screen is not quite what we were hoping for it to be. So I did have, when I jumped in my software initially, when I jumped in, there were some odd settings that had been changed by whoever the previous person was, and all the screens were out of whack, and I had to adjust some settings to make it look right for me. But apparently, it's not quite looking right on the stream, so I'm gonna have to have a quick look at that while we get these guys ready for the second race.
Yep. So just having to manually reset this grid. Unfortunately, it seems to have chucked everyone out of whack. So I'm just going to double check that the starting order for this second segment's well and truly perfect.
Okay, and unfortunately those settings cannot be adjusted while the stream is running already, so unfortunately we're stuck with that as it is. Might have a quick look to see if I can tell exactly what's going on so I can fix it at a later date, but it's, yeah, not great, not something we like to deal with, but yeah, you know, we live and we learn with these things. So are we set to go for these guys now?
Yes, we certainly are. So let's get this second segment started.
Okay, so race 2 for the Auto 1 Challenge here. Now this is the points race. This is the one that's going to get these guys to where they want to be in the championship. Everything from race 1 now goes out the window except for grid position. And we'll start these guys off, get them going as they line up on the grid here. Leading the way, Evil Evo, of course, who finished first in race 1. We got red lights up. The revs are up. The drivers are ready to go. There we go. Lights coming on. 3, 4, 5. And the green light is on and the drivers are racing. Evil Evo with a bit of a slippery start, but he gets away well again. Ahead of Bad
looks like he might have... Sorry, I'm talking over you now. You go.
No, I was finished my sentence, but the two Auto 1 cars side by side as turn 1. Bad Doc up the inside. Sorry, Mr. Bumcrack up the inside. I can't even tell the difference between the two cars. Big battle on there behind them as well. It looks like Airborne's made his way up to 4th there. Wow, that's a fantastic start from Airborne there.
Carbon Boy seems to have got on the best starter of the top 4 drivers, but he's been hung out to dry coming into turn 1. Greatness is on the inside. Oh, we're going to go too wide. Careful, boys.
Oh, wow, it's tough through the roller coaster there. Hard to go 2x2 through there, especially with a full load of fuel. Greatness gets very slippery there. The head through, there's a bit of contact there, or lots of contact. Turning left, turning right. I think that was Jemana.
Yeah, just been swallowed up at the back there. Yeah, VF, Paul Blake is he's 7/10 off the bag top already.
Well, I think importantly, we haven't got someone 4 seconds off the back this time. But look at that massive battle pack through turn 1. Loads of contact on the way through. That's absolutely massive. So Guru and Young Wakey get dropped off the back. Looks like there was contact between the pair of them. That's a very intense looking battle pack, but that's changed the race entirely. That eliminates 2 very high level players from this race, and that's going to change everything. We jump up the front quickly to update ourselves on what's going on up here. Evil Evo leads the way from Mr. Bumcrack and Airborne, who's got the better of Bad Doc. So a fantastic race so far from Airborne here in the Lightning Motorsport car. Very different to what we saw from him in the first race.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the way, and there we go. Airborne, coming the other way, chopping across from behind. He's not going to go for it.
Bumcrack holds it around the outside, very nicely done. And I think, honestly, something's been done with these Lightning Motorsport cards to their tyres or something to improve their traction off those starts. I don't know what they've done, but that's 2 races in a row now they've had the best start out of just about everyone.
It certainly seems the way, and these cars are just there's a very fine window for them to get off the line. Yeah, you can't just use a traction control, tongue-tied. You can't just use traction control, mash the throttle, and off you go, unlike the Ferrari or some of the previous cars that we've used in previous seasons. This needs a bit more finesse, and it's such a fine window to get right, and I guess it's paying dividends for Airborne and Lightning Motorsport.
Yeah, so benefits of having a team of 1 driver figures out how to get it done. Both of them know. So up the inside goes honourably Airborne on Mr. Bumcrack into turn 1, gets himself into P2, and the dynamic of this race is very different to the last one. We had Bumcrack all over the back of Evil Evo for the entire 20 minutes of the last race, but he's not able to do it this time. He's completely lost him, and Airborne's got himself up into P2 here.
Yeah, and that's a Lightning Motorsport 1-2 for the moment. Let's see if the Red Edge boys have a response to that. Certainly,
I'm just having a look at a replay now as Airborne gets his start done. How did he do it? He just went around the outside of 4 drivers at turn 1. Wow. That's absolutely fantastic. He put himself on the outside there and just outbraked all 3 drivers on his inside and went clean around the outside of all of them. It was just perfect positioning, really. So it wasn't even a fantastic traction start or anything like that. He just put his car in the right position. So, just shows decision making is everything here in motorsport.
Certainly is, and that's part of the fun with motorsport. You've got to make those split-second reactions. Think on your feet. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the recent artificial intelligence reveal that Sony AI created in regards to the current Gran Turismo situation. They developed an AI system that they put a lot of time and work into to make it as fast as, you know, the best drivers in the world and or faster. And it was very interesting watching it, the decision making of the AI, because of course computers can make decisions very quickly. It was making multiple decisions one after the other, and when it was about to defend from a driver on track in a similar position to what Airborne is in right now, we saw the AI was on the straight, jittering left and right with the steering wheel, not making concrete moves, but just making slight jitters left and right, like it didn't know whether it wanted to go to the inside or to the outside to defend or not to defend. And it just showed the difference between a good AI and human decision making. A human driver and our drivers here at Sector 1, they commit to their decisions. They make those decisions, like you say, they think on their feet and they commit to them early and roll with the punches that come from them.
That's right, yeah. So no, it is an impressive bit of kit, that Gran Turismo Sophie. Whether it gets implemented in GT7 or not, I'm not sure. But it'll be interesting to actually race against it, just to see how it stacks up compared to everyone at Sector 1.
We see a move around the outside for Mr. Bumcrack at turn 1. Can't quite get it done there. Airborne defends very nicely indeed from the Ragged Edge car. So the two guys in P3 and 4, I'm sure will be getting very frustrated at this point.
Yeah, they certainly will. It's just a matter of, well, in this circumstance, do you look at potentially coming in for an undercut, get out of the log jam?
Well, the undercut will serve as enough to get by Airborne if they have a good enough in-lap, out-lap, and rely on a bit of bad luck from Airborne there. They could potentially both get by him as Mr. Bumcrack gets on the inside. A little bit of contact there. Gets Airborne a bit sideways, and they both lose out there. Well, they lose out to both of them.
Yeah, that's well, and the main beneficiary out of that is Dadson. He's in 5th now. He's well within striking range of all those three.
Oh wow! Big aggressive move there from Airborne on Dark Side. A little bit of contact, but no harm done really. It's hard, fair racing here. They're side by side, still giving plenty of room either side of them. Up the inside for Airborne into the real turn 2. Is the Wall of Champions going to provide any entertainment for us this time? No. So they get through cleanly, and Airborne retakes 3rd position. So he's now behind Bumcrack, and he's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to catch him, I think.
Yeah, he certainly will. But Dadson will be rubbing his hands.
Full of the two drivers. Look at Mad Dog up the inside. That's a very deep dive there from the Ragged Edge driver. I don't know if that'll be looked at positively, but he gets himself through in any case. Dadson unfortunately has to sit behind Airborne as they head down the main straight here. Will Dadson be able to go for a move? Did he get the run? I don't think he does. Airborne holds P4 on the way into turn 1. Gets a little bit sideways on exit. He's falling apart very much like he did in the first race here. We saw him go backwards after about 6 or 7 laps, and we're seeing very much the same thing here now, down to 5th place. I wonder if it's an issue with tyre wear, if he's having trouble looking after them and keeping them in the same condition as the drivers around him.
His right, Airborne's right rear is marginally worse than those in front and behind, but I don't think it's, quite honestly, I don't think it's enough to potentially offset or to make the car as squirmish as it is. So
it
I don't
might
know
be
if that's
driving
just,
style then, yeah.
Yes, I'd say so.
Wow, it's really not working for him so far this race. He's really struggling to keep position up the front, and that could cost Lightning Motorsport valuable team points against the Ragged Edge team, because they are looking to be in a prime position right about now to take this team's championship. They have two cars this so far up in Group A of the challenge is absolutely fantastic for the team.
Definitely is, and that's what you want to be, realistically. You want to be at the top of the Group A section. So
yeah, Troy will be absolutely stoked with this one. So I know they've got one driver in Supercup Group A, but I don't know about their second one. Is Troy actively driving as their second one? He is, isn't he?
That's right, yes. So Ghost had to pull aside mid-season, and Troy stepped in to fill his seat for the remainder of the season.
That's right, they did a Ghost on the team, didn't they? So no, that's good. So Troy filling in, team owner now, team driver as well. So we'll be seeing him. He is in Group A, isn't he, or is he Group B?
Troy's in. Troy's in Group B at the moment. Will most likely be that way for the rest of the season, just based on points.
Okay. Well, back to the action at hand. The overcut drivers for this race are Airborne and Carbon Boy as they head round nose to tail here. Will Carbon Boy be able to get his nose in front by the time they come into the pits here at the end of this lap? Could be a very, very useful tactic. There we go, the inside bit of contact, deep on the way in. Oh, wow. That's a redress from Carbon Boy there. You can see he's slowed up, so clearly an accidental contact there. Probably quite easy to do at that corner as well. We've talked about the lack of grip on the way in there as well. So, you know, it's not overly surprising to see a mistake or an incident like that at that particular corner, but never something you want to see, of course. But great to see the sportsmanship on display, a redress there from Carbon Boy, knowing that he'd made a mistake. Great stuff.
Agreed. You know, it was good to see that he realised immediately, redressed. Even though it's cost obviously both of them a bit of time, it's been dealt with there and then, and yeah, kudos to Carbon Boy for addressing it.
Yeah, doing the right thing most definitely. So, as we have a look back at the action now, of course, Gurr has yet to pit, and will be coming in at the end of this lap, I suspect. So, Evil Evo is your net race leader, de facto race leader. Currently with 2.9 seconds over Mr. Bumcrack in P3, soon to be P2, once Gurr gets into the pits, as he goes now. So, these guys will retake their official positions on track now as they come through, but a lot of large gaps in the field this time around, so it looks like that grid set that we had from the last race has put these guys all pretty much in the positions that they should be in for the entirety of a race, and everyone's kind of on pace for their position, and they've just created gaps between themselves and the drivers around them. Correct,
yeah, more or less. Obviously, the qualifying results aren't always representative of people's race pace. So, yeah, as you've implied, it's more or less filtered out the field in terms of pace. And as you said, the gaps seem to be a lot bigger.
We do have a good little battle here between Airborne, Grassy's Carbon Boy, and I think that is Daz as well at the back of that group. They're all nice and close together in a little bit of slipstream train. It might be interesting to see how this develops as they go on.
Oh, Carbon Boy's just sent Grassy's.
Oh, wow. Carbon Boy again making contact with someone on the way in and redressing again, but making that mistake more than once. It's quite a dangerous thing to be doing. It might go punished, as we'll see. But side by side now between Daz and Grassy's following that incident on the way down to turn 1. Grassy's on the inside, Daz on the outside. A little bit of contact on the way through, but all's fair in racing. Grassy's goes through into P7, and Airborne has skipped away from the group, so that's been that little bit of breath of fresh air that he needed, I think.
Certainly. Just having a quick look up towards the front, so quite achiever. Dadson, he's in 4th. So
Dadson was very strong in race 1 too, wasn't he?
He was, but there was a lot of the kerfuffle and everything else around him. So he's just kept his head down. He hasn't really made many overtakes or anything like that. He's just gotten on with it. He's in 4th in greatness after GTP greatness after the interesting segment 1 that he had. He's now in 5th.
Yeah, he's looking pretty strong as well, because he was he had a very quiet race in race 1, didn't he?
Certainly. So I'm pretty sure he might have hit the wall, or he's definitely had a spin. Sorry, at turn 1 and a few other bits and pieces. So yeah, you'll be stoked with that.
A good place to be, and Airborne behind him, though, could be a big challenge for him.
Yeah, the pace difference... sorry, my apologies. Airborne does seem to have a slight pace advantage over Greatness. At this rate, it could be another 2 or 3 laps before they're within striking... or Airborne is within striking distance. So let's see if Airborne can keep it under control, which he certainly has already. He's gained at least another 10th or 2 just in turn 10 already.
Yeah, Airborne's looking solid once again there. He's now within slipstream range. He had a bit of a couple of laps there on that first stint where he was just a bit all over the place. Lost a lot of pace, lost a lot of momentum, I suppose. And he's now regained all of that, and he's making his way back through the field, which is great to see. So that'll be really good for the Lightning Motorsport team as well. Taking P1, and now it's on Airborne to boost the team points as much as possible.
Correct, that's right. And Lightning Motorsport are still within a big shot of the team's championship points too, so every point's going to count.
What a debut season that Lightning Motorsport have had as well. It's been a fantastic season for them so far. They've really come out swinging for the fences straight off the bat from their inception of this team this season. So really great to see.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and it's as you said, brand new team, Stickers, great guy. You know, obviously he's got a great batch of drivers together, including himself. So yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with. Definitely, they've come in with a big bang.
Look at that,
Airborne's
great move there
just
from
at a
Airborne
fast-
through on greatness.
Definitely, and fastest lap to boot as well, a 51.8.
Crucially as well though, that fastest lap, as you say, he's got a 51.625 to beat by Mr. Bumcrack in race 1, if memory serves. Oh, nearly into the fence there for Airborne though. That was very close. That could have been disaster for him.
Yeah, and Greatness is having a big sniff.
He's
up
keeping that
towards
pressure
turn
on. He's not going to let him get away easily.
10. Oh, lock in the rears. There's a bit of contact.
I think Airborne's really struggling with that final corner. He's getting
Oh,
slippery and
be
slidey
nice,
a
guys,
lot
be nice.
in that particular corner. A little bit of contact as they head down the main straight. They're side by side as they come down towards turn 1. Greatness on the outside, Airborne on the inside. Onto the AstroTurf for Greatness. Is he going to hang it around the outside? He is. Stays off the gravel. They're still side by side. Greatness is going to get the position back momentarily. This is fantastic side-by-side action, and Airborne finds himself on the inside for turn 2, the real turn 2, once again. As many times that we've seen him make an overtake at that corner. So, very well done for Airborne there. Bit of a wall tap there for Greatness as well. A little bit slowed him down, but he's still within slipstream range, so he might be able to go for another move yet again here as they head down towards turn 1. So, Dadson appears to be pretty safe in P4 from these guys. I don't think he's going to mount a challenge for the guys in front.
No, I don't think so.
Tell.
But Daz as well has snuck his way up to 7th as well. He's just in front of Carbon Boy and Grassy's in 8th and 9th respectively.
It looks like Carbon Boy, looked like he was going to go for a move there.
Yeah, they've been jostling for position the last couple of laps, so it's toing and throwing a fair bit.
And this is it too. 4 laps to go or so, I think, for these guys, and it's battle for position now. Teamwork's out the window.
Bumcrack. He's hit the wall really, really bad. He's got damage on front and rear sides of that car. So he's hit that wall massively. He's dropped back to 6th now.
We'll have a look here. There he goes into the wall. Big spin as well. Wow. Out of P2 there. And here we go then, looking at him. He drops down behind Dadson there, and Airborne. And Greatness. Is Greatness going to come through? Greatness actually lost a lot of time on Airborne there. Gets past Bumcrack, who drops down to P6 there. So, very unfortunate for him. Very unfortunate indeed, because now that means that Lightning Motorsport is going to score the most team points out of this race. So that was a crucial mistake there for Bumcrack, and completely unforced as well.
That's right, exactly. And oh no, and Bumcrack, he'll be kicking himself for that, but it's so easy to do it at the real turn 2. So
yep, the Wall of Champions claims another victim. This time it was one of the front runners, which is not something we were expecting to see at all. So a very uncharacteristic mistake there from Mr. Bumcrack, who finds himself now in P6. He might be able to score himself a P5 to finish, but that's a great result out the window, unfortunately, for the Ragged Edge driver.
yeah, I'm afraid so. But with that being said, still a couple of laps left. You never know. Just need to consolidate, get on with it. You know, you've got a couple more laps. Just head down, keep pushing.
Evil Evo has absolutely dominated tonight, hasn't he?
Certainly has. So 5 seconds at the moment to the bad dog. Had great starts both times. He's currently got the fastest lap in segment 2. So the race is well and truly under his control.
Well, the saving grace, I suppose, for Bumcrack is if things stay as they are, he will go home with the fastest lap tonight.
Correct.
So
that's right.
He does have that extra point there as well, which will be very helpful for him, but unfortunately not quite the result he would have wanted here, I don't think. Just to reiterate a little bit about the current championship battle, Evil Evo, who's currently leading the way, is leading on the points, the championship, the Auto 1 challenge here at Sector 1. So this might wrap up the whole series for him with one round to go starting next week, or week after next rather. But Mr. Bumcrack, who currently sits in P2 in the championship, is going to be outpaced by Airborne today. I think he's going to be beaten by Airborne, who's currently sitting in P4, who will then leapfrog him into P2 in the championship standings because there's only a 1 point gap between the pair of them.
That's correct.
And then Daz 930, who currently sits down in P7, is currently P4 in the championship, so he'll solidify his position a little bit more. And Young Wakey as well down in P9, currently sits P5 in the championship. So a couple of guys up the front. Dadson in particular is up in P3 now, so he's going to score himself a podium here today, I think.
Yeah, he'll be stoked with that.
And so that'll be really good for him as well, because he's the 14th place driver currently on the championship standings, so he was at risk of dropping down to Group B.
Correct, that's right, exactly that. So that'll more or less cement his position for the final round in Group A.
Brilliant stuff. Evil Evo comes down the main straight, a flash of the headlights. He knows that's a great result. That's the drive that he needed. Across the line he comes there, pretty much cementing his championship. Bad Dog in P2, a great drive for Auto 1. Dadson P3, he'll be absolutely stoked with that. Airborne, a good recovery into P4, greatness P5. Bumcrack gets himself P6 ahead of Daz, Wakey and Carbon Boy, P8, 9. Grassy's rounding out top 10. Wow, what a race. What a pair of races.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff from these guys.
Definitely.
Yeah,
was
that's
great
very
racing.
true, Brent, yeah.
Definitely, I'd say that's more or less wrapped it up, barring any penalties. That's wrapped up with 1 round to go.
Yeah, great stuff from Evil Evo there. Absolutely dominant, as he has been all season. Driver of the Day nominations already from Brocky. I think it's hard to argue with that. So drop your Driver of the Day nominations in the chat. I think there's a couple of potential ones there that we could use. Airborne is one of them, with a great recovery drive after falling all the way back there. And I think, was it Daz who found himself in P14 at the beginning of the first race?
That's correct. Yeah, exactly that.
So, just to be completely clear, Daz was P14 at the very beginning of the first race, and he found himself in P7 right behind Mr. Bumcrack at the end of the second race. So I think that's a great recovery as well. So that can't really be let go either. Dadson as well, a fantastic result for him. He's always very hard on himself and expects the very best, and I think he can be very satisfied with that result there tonight.
It certainly will be. It's, certainly a fair few drivers that have had some good races, good segments, I should say, good races on both sides. So, no, hats off to everyone. It's great racing.
Yeah, it was really good. And Bad Doc, a bit of a quiet one in that second one, but he brought home second place, which is a great result, whatever way you look at it. So awesome stuff from him as well. Greatness as well, P5 after the first race, which was a bit of a disaster. So, a lot of different people that we could be looking at for that one. So I think it's between Dadson and Evil, really, most of all. Who do you think, D-Flow?
Ooh, I'm stuck between Dadson and Daz for Driver of the Day. You know what? Let's go Dadson.
I think I want to give it to Dadson as well. I'm not a big fan of giving the winner a Driver of the Day award as well, but you can't look past him as well. I think he deserves all the nominations he's getting in the chat there. So
definitely,
very well done to him and a great performance tonight.
Certainly.
Well, that does it for our Auto 1 challenge for the evening. Thank you very much for hosting tonight, D-Flow, and a fantastic job in the box from you as always.
No worries, pleasure.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you later on. We now move over to the Super Cup room, Group A Super Cup. So this is probably what you're all here for, I think. This is the big dogs. A lot of the fastest drivers in Sector 1 are with us here in the Group A Super Cup, and I am joined by our new race director on the team and new to the commentary box, Cruisin'. How are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Yeah. It's
Great
a
to
bit
have
crack.
you, man.
Yeah, the
How have
times
you guys
are
been
very
looking?
insanely fast and consistent.
Fast and consistent. Well, that's
Fast
I
and
have to say
consistent.
for this group, it's quite unsurprising, eh?
Yeah. Top 6 is separated between less than 0.100.
0.1 of a second. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And
6 people.
what sort of time are you expecting to see for the pole qualifying time?
Pole qualifying, a low 51.
Low 51. Wow. And
Low
we saw a
51.
51.7 in Group A
Yeah.
challenge. So that's absolutely flying there.
It'd be under that. It'd be under that.
Now, an important little one that I wanna look into. So we've got Kiwi Raikkonen and Corgi here, who we've seen many times this season adapt teamwork and slipstream into their qualifying sessions. Have you seen them doing any practice for that in the practice session? Do you think we're going to see that tonight?
I think we will. Like, currently they're sitting 1-2 on track, so... And, yeah, they've been at their little games,
So
like usual.
they've set the fastest times of the evening so far, have they?
They have been, yes, alongside TX3.
Ah, GDR as well. Okay,
Yeah,
so he's
yeah.
been a big one to watch as well.
Between the
hasn't
three of them, they're switching times, yeah.
he? Wow, that's well, that's unsurprising to be fair, but very, very exciting. I think our 3 title protagonists for the season. Of course, we do unfortunately, following unfortunate incidents in the last Group A Supercup race, have 2 absentees, one of them due to a ban and one of them due to an early retirement. We won't get into that too much, but of course, just to detail it a little bit, the 2 missing drivers are the 6-time champion Brocky and Morgan Davey of Deeds Racing. So we will see one of them back for the final round of the season, but unfortunately neither of them will be appearing here tonight for Sardinia C. Which may change up the title fight a little bit. And speaking of the title fight, we'll have a little look at the Porsche Supercup Next Level Racing Championship here, driver table. Currently leading the way on points is GTR of Ragged Edge Racing. So we've seen some fantastic performances from the Ragged Edge team so far tonight. Can Gopi do the same again here in Group A Supercup? He's closely followed as well by Corgi and Kiwi of the FSR Esports team, representing Blacklight and Dadson respectively here in Sector 1, and Morgan Davey in P4 and Brocky 05 in P5 on the championship leaderboard will not be appearing tonight. So it looks like the battle for the podium is the battle to watch out for, and everyone else is just fighting for that 4th position now.
Yeah, I think TX3's motivation to extend that lead is very much up there.
It's a very close gap as well. It's only 2 points between them, and it looks like it's a fairly solid gap back to Kiwi Raikkonen in P3. But the battle for first between GDR and Corgi is all to play for. So, just to refresh everyone on what we're going to be dealing with tonight, if you've just joined us for Group A Supercup, we are racing tonight at Sardinia Road Track C in Italy. 2.66 kilometers for the drivers to deal with, so the shortest circuit on our calendar at the moment with 10 corners. Takes about 51 seconds to navigate for our drivers. The layout for tonight is a 10-minute qualifying session which will determine the grid for the first sprint race of 20 minutes, which will then determine the grid for the feature race of 20 minutes, which follows, and the points for the championship will be awarded at the end of that race to the finishing positions of that one. The only crossover between the 2 races is that the fastest lap across the pair of them is the one fastest lap point that will be distributed, and we saw that in the Group A challenge just before. The fastest lap point was awarded to Mr. Bumcrack for his fastest lap in the first sprint race of a 51.625, even though the fastest lap in race 2 was set by Airborne with a 51.8. So we might see more of the same in this race as we just wait. I think we've just had Corgi have a little bit of issues jumping out, and he'll be back very shortly. Have you had any correspondence from him there, Cruiser?
No, I just had to notice myself.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll get him back in here very quickly.
Lost in translation at the moment. Oh, here we go. No, he's back.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. And I think Karen Unleashed, or Brent as we know him, a fan favourite in the box, is making the step up from Group B tonight.
Yeah. Same with Knuckles and D-Flow. Yeah? I think they're back in Group A after a few runs in Group B.
Okay.
Yep.
Good stuff. So, I think Brent's not replacing Morgan, is he? He's just stepping up because he's top of Group B.
I think he's actually, yes.
Okay, so that should be very interesting. So we've got a word in the chat saying TX3 isn't human. I don't know who TX3 is, but I do know GDR most certainly is not human. He's named after a car after all, so he must have some sort of machinery about him. As you might say, he's more machine than man, but only the Star Wars fans will get that one. In any case, I think we're ready to get these guys underway for the qualifying session here at Sardinia C. Shall we get them going?
Drop the flag. Yep, I'll drop the flag. Here we go.
Alright, let's get them going. So 10 minutes of qualifying for our drivers here at Sardinia C. We've just witnessed the same for the Group A Challenge. Here now with our Next Level Racing Supercup drivers at Sardinia Road Course C yet again. 13 drivers on the grid tonight, and away they go. Captain Muffin, the first to exit the pits here. To head out on track for the first time. So, teamwork is one thing to watch out for in this qualifying session. So we know, of course, the FSR drivers, here they are exiting the pits now. FSR Corgi and I'm sure Kiwi Raikkonen will both be looking to get a slipstream together, as we have seen them do many times so far this season. They'll have to find themselves a bit of space on track, and it is a little bit difficult to do here. With such a short track, it's very difficult to find space like that.
Yeah, they're very bunched up, apart from Karen, which has got a nice little buffer.
Karen's gone off, and he's decided that he absolutely wants clear air for this one. So he's in here on merit, as Brocky points out very nicely in chat there. So he's going to make a claim with no slipstream assistance here early on in the qualifying session. Stickers comes across the line to start his first flying lap, followed closely by Muffin, who's flown a little bit under the radar this season. I think he's one of the fastest guys in this group, undoubtedly, is Captain Muffin, and you see it there, how much he closed up onto the Lightning Motorsport driver.
He's been a hot favourite in practice, Captain.
He has. He's looked pretty good this season. I think he's struggled to put it together on a couple of occasions where he's had the pace. But I think if this race falls nicely to him, he may be looking really good. So, a little bit of word in the stream chat. Why is there only 13 cars? I do not know. But that's currently what we're working with here in Group A. So I would have thought it might have been just down to the ban of a driver from the previous race. 51.8 to start us off. A great opening lap there from Karen. A lot of guys just dipping into the 51.9s. GDR straight up to the 51.7s, I suppose you might call it. That'll be good for him. So he starts off with a pretty solid lap there to get himself going. Followed by Kiwi Raikkonen as well, who is not working with Corgi, crucially. So something we've seen them do a lot this season is slipstreaming themselves around the track, but we have not seen that from them tonight.
Right there, they're all in the 51s, right down to P7.
Wow. I think only the top 5 in the challenge race were in the 51s, so high standards here, very high standards, and to set a 51.7 straight off the bat for GDR is absolutely phenomenal, I think. Oh, Captain Muffin goes to the top. Artie Thump, D-Flow. Wow. Look at that. 51.5 already.
That'll be tough to beat.
I was saying about Muffin, he's got himself up into the podium positions. He's looking pretty good. Artie Thump, though, someone who we haven't mentioned a lot lately in the Group A Super Cup, up into provisional P2.
Yeah, he was up there in practice, mixing it with a few others.
That's great to see, I think, because we don't always see him mixing it in with the guys at the very top, but looks like he's come to race today, for sure.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got pace.
Good stuff. And that livery, that's a new-looking livery. What's that modelled off?
Not entirely sure. It looks very Aussie, you could say.
It does look very Aussie. It's that green and yellow. It's throwing me an Aussie vibe, big time. I love it. I love it.
Must be an extra 10 horsepower paint.
Gives it an extra bit of power. Yeah, you love to see it. Of course, that's the CJ Esports livery, of course, which they've changed up a little bit. So usually they run I think they run mostly white, white and black.
I believe
if I'm
so.
not mistaken.
Yes.
So a bit of a colour scheme change, but I like it. You love to see it. So D-Flow remains provisional pole for now. So the guys to watch out for are Corgi and GDR, who will expect to see great things from in this qualifying session. GDR comes to the line. No, goes into the pits. So he's changing his tyres over now. I suspect most of them might be doing the same.
Yeah, we could see that time be beaten if they get the lap in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a fair while to change things up. Kiwi Raikkonen also hasn't really set the world on fire with his qualifying session so far. Bit of lag there, just saw him drive straight into the pit wall, but anyway, we'll continue on like nothing happened. You can do that in a simulator like this, so that's alright. I suspect he'll be in for new tyres at the end of this lap, unless he's pitted already and we missed it. Alright, so just to go back to Artie Thump's livery, which we were looking at in so much detail before. Hot tip from Jim Bob, sprint round livery, so there is a bit of a tradition here at Sector 1 to go for a purple
sector by Kiwi. Sorry to
Kiwi
interrupt.
Raikkonen on a purple sector here. So there's only 2 sectors on this track as well, that's very important to know. So that first sector ends just at the, I think it's the exit of the real turn 2, just after the Wall of Champions, as they head down the roller coaster. There we go, there it is, 51.492, so he'll be happy with that. He might have got a lick of slipstream from the Deeds car in front of him, driven by Karen. Stickers with a 51.9, that's good stuff from him. Amazing that a 51.9 won't even get you in the top 10. That's absolutely ridiculous. It just shows the quality in these cars, doesn't it? So just to go back to Artie Thump, who now sits in P3. So tradition at Sector 1 is to put on a retro livery for the sprint rounds, which a lot of guys have done here at Sector 1. And this livery is to promote the Australian-made turntables at D'Angelo Engineering. And there we go. Corey Hack up to P3. That's someone who we haven't mentioned this session, in a Martini-style livery as well. That's actually a livery that flew under the radar a bit there. So that's the Green Beacon car for Red Mist Racing, rocking a Martini-style livery, reminiscent of your old Williams cars.
It is. It's very striking.
It's a great
livery.
Very
shiny.
It does blend in a little bit with the colour scheme being similar to the cars around it, but when you really look at it, you can tell it's fantastic, can't you? So that pops him up into P3, so that's really mixed up the order a little bit. So Kiwi Raikkonen leads the way with 0.2 seconds over the drivers behind him, and he's currently burning a bit of fuel off to lighten the car. D-Flow's coming around to set a lap time, I think, here with the slipstream of Artie Thump in front of him. Does he go faster? Not quite. Corey Hack comes into the pits for the last time. He's going to have one more chance to set a lap. GDR on the way around has just set a faster lap time. We'll have to see if he goes faster again. Artie Thump in P5, so still a great starting position if he remains where he is. He'll want to go faster, you can guarantee that.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably see one more flying lap from these guys.
Yeah, so the guys in the pits, I think they might just about squeeze in a second one, but we'll have to see. It's going to be tight between 1 and 2 from here, because of course 50-second laps. With 2 minutes to go, you get 2 laps in, and then you probably have one more. A lot of these guys are on their out laps right now. So Kiwi coming through, D-Flow Will he come into the pits? He does. So a lot of guys diving into the pits for the last time. So they back themselves to get an outlap done in the meantime. Corey Hack does have a slipstream in front of him from a Deeds car and from Captain Muffin there as well in the Alliance livery. Jump on board the Green Beacon mobile. Nice and wide on entry to the final corner. Looking to get a run on exit, I presume, but he gets held up a little bit by Karen there. So I presume that this is not a hot lap for them. They're beginning their final flying, or their final 2 flying laps now, rather. Gets himself a nice bit of space there. We'll see how much he can close up to Karen over the course of the next lap. Lucky goes down to a 52 flat. Puts him only P13, so not where he'd want to be. I'm sure he can improve and go faster as he gets a little bit sideways on the grass there. Nux, the
I think that's another new livery as well. We've got a colour variation.
Oh, he does too.
Melbourne Polytechnic car.
Yeah. So that's not a colour scheme we're used to seeing for the RCLL, is it?
No, I think it's LLCR.
Oh, LLCR.
Lucky.
Oh,
Yep.
no. Yeah, I would mix that up. I'm terrible with remembering the teams and the liveries and such. I need to get better at that. But yes, the LLCR and Nux, of course, driving the RCLL ahead of him. Not running a retro livery, rocking the standard Autobahn colours. So 51.794 is good enough for a top 10, apparently. There you have
Makes you think.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. So, Kiwi Raikkonen is on a lap. He's just begun a lap. D-Flow is currently sitting behind Artie Thump. Unfortunately, they get a little bit tangled there and have to abandon the lap. Captain Muffin's got himself up to P3. When did that happen? When did Muffin get himself up there? That's fantastic. GDR gets himself up to P4. Can't quite go ahead of Muffin. Muffin's going to come around. This is their last lap, I think. Does he improve? Not quite. Corey goes to P3 in the Green Beacon car for Red Mist Racing. What a good final lap there for the Green Beacon car. And Corgi gets himself up to P4 there. Not quite into the podium. So Kiwi Raikkonen will lead the way off the grid for the first time. We don't have any grid place penalties to apply, do we?
No, not tonight.
So we go straight to the green flag for these guys.
Straight to the green flag.
Kiwi on pole, D-Flow P2, Corey Hack rounds out the podium starting positions. So the first race tonight, of course, a 20-minute sprint that will dictate the starting grid for race 2, which will be the race that dishes out the points. So this race is not for championship points, but it is to set the grid for the second race, and I can guarantee you these guys will fight with everything they've got to get the best position they can at the end of this race. So they line up on the grid. Here we go. As the yellow flag falls away, the red lights are all on, and they go green, and the drivers are away and racing. Clean start by all here by the look of things. They all settle in line astern, looking a lot tidier than it was in the first race here. Corey Hack looks to the inside of D-Flow here, and Muffin splits the pair of them. Is Corey Hack going to get himself up into P2? It looks like he is, and GDR is wide on the exit of turn 1. He's actually off track, and he's spun back there. A disaster for the Ragged Edge car. He'll be counting his lucky stars that this race only sets the grid for the second race. But wow, and D-Flow's falling back down the field as well. He's now down in P7, P8, P9. He's found himself on the outside of every corner they've been through. That's P11 there. Back up the front, we look at Corey Hack, who's got himself a little bit of pressure from Corgi behind. He's trying to find his way back into the slipstream range of Kiwi Raikkonen ahead, but he's not quite within. He's going to have to go defensive into turn 1 here.
With Knuckles has found a few spots up on lap 1.
He's P6 as well, so he's taken advantage of a lot of those issues there that a lot of guys have had. Muffin's going to look to take advantage of Corey here as well as Corgi sneaks through. They settle in line astern as they come down the roller, or they come into, the real turn 2 past the wall of champions. Does anybody have an issue? No. They head down the roller coaster.
I think Speedy's gained a couple spots as well.
Speedy has. He's in P5 as well. He had a very quiet qualifying session, but he's now in a great spot here on track as Muffin looks to the inside of Corey there. Up the inside, gets it done. I think it was in Corey's best interest there to just drop in behind Muffin and allow him to retake the slipstream of Corgi in front, but he cannot afford to lose too many positions. He's being a little bit passive here, Corey. He's going to have to get the elbows out at some point. There we go. Defends from Speedy there on the way through turn 1. It's getting very interesting very quickly.
They're letting Kiwi kind of skip away here.
This would happen here, of course. GDR has got himself the fastest lap on the second lap, and it's almost good enough to unseat the fastest lap from the challenge room already. And this is on a full tank of fuel. That's absolutely insane. We'll have a look now at a replay. Turn 1 after the start here, on board with GDR on the outside of Artie Thump and the outside of Corgi in front of him. Gets out on the Astro. What happens here? Is there contact? He gets pushed off from the inside, so a little bit of contact with Artie Thump, and goes to get back on the track and unfortunately loops it round. Finds himself facing the wrong way, so that's a huge problem for GDR, but he's going to look to recover now. So Corgi with a mountain of pressure behind him from Captain Muffin. Looks like Corey's fallen away. Muffin is looking really quick here tonight. Really fast.
Yeah, he has been during practice, very consistent, just putting a lot of time on track.
Do you think that with the practice you've seen that Corgi can actually catch Kiwi, or is this race now all said and done for the leader?
I think Corgi can definitely, he's got what it takes to catch Kiwi, but the 1.3 second lead, on a short circuit.
It's a lot. It's going to take a lot. I think he might have to go for an undercut of some kind to make it work, and that can cause risk with traffic as well, as we've seen. So it could be an interesting race here. He might be happy with the second spot on the grid, Corgi, but I'm sure he'll want to get that win if he can.
His Kiwis, he's still pulling away, so he's still got pace to burn.
And looking down at GDR down in P13 as well, a 51.612 on lap 4 there for him. I think it was lap 4. Yep, so he's just set the fastest lap of the race with a 612, which unseats the challenge drivers who set that lap with about half a tank on board the car on fresh tyres. So,
well, going off lap times, Kiwi's the most consistent driver on track by a considerable margin.
That's good stuff for Kiwi. He's pulling away as well. Corgi's dropped to 1.7, but I think we're seeing GDR is more or less taking the role of Brocky, who is now retired from Sector 1 sim racing as the photocopy laps guy. Are we going to have to start calling GDR the cyborg as well?
He's definitely got what it takes to earn that name, I think.
Yeah, I think if there's anyone deserving, it might be GDR, but Kiwi Raikkonen, of course, doing a fantastic job as well. We've got a wide moment there from Corgi and Muffin following each other deep there, as well as Speedy and Corey behind. So, two little battles here for second and third and fourth and fifth respectively. And then a side-by-side moment there for seventh as well.
I think he might
have a look on board. Look at Karen up the inside of Nux as Corey goes up the inside of Speedy in front. Gets the move done, as does Karen here at turn one. No, Nux holds it round the outside. Gets the move back. Well done to him.
A very clean move. Textbook.
Alright, and that Deeds car looks really good as well, doesn't it? That pink and silver looks really good. Follow Nux down through the roller coaster up to turn 10. Here we go. Is there an opportunity here at the end of the straight for Karen? We jump on board with Speedy as well. He's now in firing range of Corey in front of him. Does Corey go defensive? It looks like he was thinking about it. Speedy goes for the bump. So a little bit of teamwork coming in now. Speedy is putting his emotions aside and thinking about the races itself. Although with a mistake there from Corey Hack, he may go for a move here. If If he feels like he's faster, tucks back inside. Captain Muffin still applying so much pressure to Corgi here. This is absolutely fantastic from the Muffin Man. We've got in chat as well, Pruski and Good Doc both said there's only one cyborg at exactly the same time. I don't know how that's happened. I don't know if that was set up, but that I think that just goes to show that there must only be one cyborg.
I think T3 might need a few more championships before we can.
Yeah, well, he's got himself up to P12 here. In fact, Artie Thump must have had a collision with the Wall of Champions because he's now down in P13. So he was looking really good in the early stages, but it looks like GDR's got by him following an incident at some point. And D-Flow is currently down in P11 as well, so he's had a bit of a shock of this race too. He had a really, really rough start, and I think he might just be still in the position that he was left in following that. I don't think he's dropped back any further.
I think these guys now at the back, knowing that this is just kind of a practice race, they'll be just warming up for the feature race.
They've just got to treat it as a warm-up, try to nail down any mistakes that you might be making, or find that little bit of extra time that you might need in the real race, because there's not necessarily any point in treating this race like the result matters, because all that's going to matter now to GDR is that he gets ahead of D-Flow, which is really the only thing he can do at this point, because he can get that 11th spot on the grid, but to catch Nux in P10 would be a massive ask, and I don't think it's possible, to be honest. Speedy's got around Corey at some point there as well. We've got 3-wide action there between Karen, Stickers, and Old Wakey as well.
Yeah, Stickers is really putting the pressure on Karen.
A couple of guys into the pits. Wakey, Corey, and Speedy into the pits. Karen and Stickers carry on line astern with each other. Captain Muffin follows around Corgi. I think Muffin's playing this really smart. He's just sitting behind Corgi. He's clearly got enough pace to stick with him. He might even have enough to get by him, but he's just letting Corgi do all the work and pull him along into a great finishing position here. So I think he's just about ready to lock out that 3rd place on the grid, to be honest.
Do you think it might have been a bit early to bid? A bit of tyre wear, or?
I wouldn't necessarily say so, as we see a bit of a mistake there from Muffin. Oh, he's lost it down the roller coaster there, but no, it's probably not too early to pit. We saw guys pitting around the 11-minute mark, 11.5-minute mark, because of course 10 minutes being halfway through the 20-minute race, those guys were potentially just pitting one lap early to get themselves an undercut, which is quite useful. Muffin's made a very crucial mistake there on the end of his final lap, unfortunately, which has actually dropped him off the back of Corgi, which will completely upset his race from here, I think. We'll jump on board with Speedy and see where he comes out in relation to the guys in front of him. So there they are, and there's the Deeds car as well as the Lightning Motorsport car. Speedy Tyres chomps time down up onto the back of Muffin in front, and Muffin is now under threat. So that's very interesting. The other Lightning Motorsport car for this race, driven by Speedy. So we've had 2 Lightning Motorsport cars in Challenge A, and now we've got 2 Lightning Motorsport cars in Supercup A. And Speedy Tyre's doing a fantastic job. He might be able to unseat Muffin here and get onto that podium. One driver who's gone a little bit unnoticed this race is Old Wakey, I think. He's currently sitting in P6. He's having a fantastic race.
And that's another new retro livery from the Aussie Hampton racer.
That's true, yeah. I think someone actually mentioned that in chat earlier. So you can see it's still got the purple wing mirrors on it, but it's a nice clean white livery. Looks really good. So he's now sitting on the back of Corey Hack, who's behind Captain Muffin and Speedy, who got around him actually. So Speedy's got himself up into the podium positions here. This could be very interesting for the remainder of the race. Now, I think the best position to be in at the end of this race is P3 for any one of these guys, because that will obviously lead them into the second race right on the back of the two FSR guys, and if they can get clear, they could sit in that slipstream and get pulled along to a fantastic position. Because I think it's fair to say that the FSR guys are more or less a cut above the rest at this point. They've got massive pace and they've clearly got an advantage over the other drivers on track. But Muffin showed that it was more than possible for one of these mid-pack drivers to sit on the back of one of those guys in the front, to use the slipstream to their advantage and get a good result. Unfortunately, a mistake has ruined that chance, but if he can get himself up into P3, he might be able to try it again in race 2.
We've got the battle for 12 and 13th again. DX3's, I think, closing in on D-Flow.
That's quite interesting, because Artie Thump's disappeared up the field again. Has Artie not pitted yet?
Oh, God, it doesn't look... I don't believe so.
That would explain it then.
Yeah.
That would explain that. So, D-Flow and GDR have both pitted, so GDR now needs to get past him if he wants that P11 on the grid once this is all over. I wonder if Artie knows that it's a mandatory stop. Because that could change a lot.
Yeah.
Jump back up the front, check out the guys, what's going on up here. Speedy and Muffin still kind of sitting nose to tail here. I wonder if Muffin's trying to play the smart game and wait for the prime opportunity to pass, or if he's actually really struggling to get past here. He's looking pretty strong. Muffin's pace has been very good all race. He's just had that one mistake coming down the roller coaster. There you go. You see a little bit of a bump draft there from Muffin on the way into turn 1.
Yeah, I reckon he's just, lighting his prey up, seeing where he's stronger.
Well, he might actually be trying to catch up to Corgi, because that gap's come down by like 4/10 there.
It has, yes.
So I think that gap might be coming down slightly, so it might be a strategy play to try and get these guys up into a P2 position. Looking back down, further down the field, and we've got an incident there. Artie Thump's gone past Nux, who's had a massive issue there. Wow, that's race ending for Nux here. As he came round the real turn 2, a little bit of understeer, unforced error here as well. Took a bit too much curb on the inside, got sideways, and there you go. Spun by the wall there. Unfortunate for Nux. Not the first person for it to happen to tonight, and I'm sure that he won't be the last. But an unforced error there.
We've just got a new fastest lap from TX3 GTR.
Oh wow, 51.357, and that's with an overtake in it as well. He's overtaken D-Flow on that lap also. That's absolutely mental. So I think
that's faster than Pole, I think.
We can. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's insane. Well, there you go. I suppose they're probably running a lot of fuel load now, so that's probably what's going on there. But so Artie Thump still hasn't pitted. So we haven't seen him go through the pits as of yet to do his mandatory stop, and that's why he's ahead of these guys. Is he going to go in? Does he know that it's a mandatory stop? I think if you're if you're his team owner,
you'd be on the radio.
Yeah, you'd be on the radio. If you're the CJ Esports team owner, I think you should be probably getting on the line to this guy and letting him know, hey, you got to get in the pit, mate. You have to do a stop, regardless of whether you need it. You have to do one. A no stop is not allowed, and that's going to be another position for GDR here. So that might pop him up to P10 on the starting grid for the second race after that disastrous start at the very beginning of the race, which we saw. Up to P10, which he'll probably be okay with as damage limitation, and he might be able to get a few positions off the very start.
You could be having a Kimi Raikkonen moment where the radio's not transmitting.
Yeah, radio issues not uncommon in Sector 1 here, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. We've had a position change here for Muffin and Speedy. Muffin's clearly grown a bit tired of waiting around for Speedy to do something, so he's gone for the move himself. It looks like Corgi has struggling through that turn 1 section a little bit, because Muffin is looking a lot faster than him through there at the moment. They're looking good through the middle sector, or middle section of the track.
Muffin seems to have got past Speedy.
Yeah, so he's in front. Speedy's looking to retaliate though.
Yeah.
But yes, he has got that position, and it looks like he's given up on trying to get Speedy to catch up to Corgi for him, so he's going to go about it himself. So Artie still, without pitting, has found himself in P10. GDR's going to have to catch him to cement the fact that he gets that P10. Because I don't know if we can guarantee that he hasn't pitted, can we? Because while we might see that he's got more worn out tyres than the rest of the field, that doesn't necessarily mean he hasn't pitted, does it?
No, but I've been watching the times and it doesn't appear.
Well, he was way off the back, if memory serves, after the first couple of laps. And I've had a suggestion from Good Doc in the chat that he may have pitted at the end of lap 1 or 2, which is not the recommended strategy, but it is a viable strategy, and just taken his pit stop early and gone for clear air for the remainder of the race.
It could have been, yeah. The tyres aren't overly, they're a little bit worse than, say, TX3s. They're pretty bad, but not overly.
Jamana's a bit preoccupied to get in contact, I think, apparently, from what we know in the stream chat. But GDR, I'm sure, will do his best to get by Artie if he has to. But
I think
we're up in the air in regards to that.
World Championship for 7th and 8th.
Oh, here we go. So it's more Karen Unleashed versus Stickers, I think, on the inside there. He's got his nose in front. As Karen looks to the outside here, they're going to go for a position change. What's going to happen here? Just gets his nose ahead, but Stickers manages to get it done. A great overtake there by the Lightning Motorsport team owner. Fantastically done. And Lucky behind, looking to take advantage as soon as something goes wrong for the drivers in front. Now, Corey Hack's fallen off the back of Speedy tyres here at some point, or I think that was actually a fair while ago, but he's currently sitting in front of Old Wakey, who's had a good race so far up in P6. So I think seeing him up the sharp end of the field is something that hasn't been so commonplace recently.
Which is actually interesting too. Corey's actually got more car than Speedy.
Corgi's got more car than Speedy?
Corey's got more car.
Oh, Corey does, sorry.
Yeah, Corey has. Yeah.
So he's clearly been driving a little bit more conservatively as Old Wakey looks to the outside. A fantastic attempt around the outside. That looked really good, but couldn't quite pull it off against the inside driver of Corey Hack. And they remain as they are. 1.6 seconds to Speedy in front. I wonder if Corey can mount a challenge in the dying stages. No, this will be their final lap. Kiwi comes into the final corner here. He's led from start to finish. Great stuff for him there. A little bit of lag on the way through, but that's alright. We can deal with that. Second place to the second of the FSR drivers, Corgi, and Muffin P3. He'll be stoked with that. Speedy, Corey, Old Wakey P6, Stickers, Lucky, Karen, and Artie comes home. Oh, P11 behind GDR, so GDR just gets that P10 back. Well, fantastic drive from Kiwi, of course, as we expected to see. So the two FSR drivers up the front. GDR will be disappointed after that start to be down in P10. But it's all to play for in the second race here. Have a quick look at the results from that race. Kiwi Raikkonen with a 3.7 second lead over Corgi. He got away in the beginning and he managed to pull away even further, so he's absolutely bossed this race in race 1. down into P3 for Captain Muffin. So a great spot to start the second race from. He'll be able to latch onto the back of Corgi as he did in the first race. And hopefully no mistakes to ruin that chance again, as we've seen. Speedy in P4, Corey P5, Old Wakey P6. So that's the first 3 rows, and they were mostly 2-car battles all the way through, if you exclude Kiwi and Corgi. Stickers, Lucky, Karen, GDR, Artie, D-Flow and Nux towards the back of the field. GDR will be the one to watch. He'll be looking to make moves early on. Hopefully he doesn't get the same sort of bad luck as he had in the first one. He takes the fastest lap with a 51.357, and because he was in clear air, I'd be fairly confident in saying he probably will not be troubled for that in the second race. But now he has to get the points for the race in and of itself. So he's got a lot of work to do in the early stages. We'll see if he can get himself up to where he wants to be. That could be very interesting. So what do you think we'll see from GDR in this race, Cruisin'? And predictions in the chat as well. Get us your predictions there too. It'll be a tough drive for him, I think. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
So Brocky in the chat pointing out Artie might have pitted early as well, yeah, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll have to chase the pit stop rule later on, but unfortunately, whether he did or did not, we're going to have to go into the second race with the current positions as they are and assume that he did. It'll have to be reviewed by the stewards later. But we are all set to go for race 2, so I think we should get that underway as soon as possible.
I'll just send the message now.
GDR had a tow from D-Flow for that that fastest lap potentially as well. Possibly, so it might have just fallen into his lap a little bit there too, but great stuff either way, and I don't think, like I say, I don't think he will be troubled for that in the second one. So get your predictions for race 2 in the chat. If you're watching from home, let us know what you think's going to happen.
Can we see a last to first?
Could we see a last to first? I don't know. I think we'd be asking a bit much, but if we jump on board with GDR here for the start, let's keep an eye on what the Ragged Edge driver does from the very get-go. No lights on the grid at the moment. We've got the revs up, though. The guys are looking to burn as much fuel early doors as possible. The red lights all are illuminated. And out they go, and away the drivers go. We're racing here. A great start from GDR there. Gets the jump on Karen on the inside rather. Not quite getting the position though. He's going to look to the inside here, I'm sure. Or he can't. He's got Artie Thump on the inside again. Last time he had Artie Thump on the inside, he got pushed wide, but he managed to get to the apex this time around, and he gets through cleanly, and that's up to P6 there for GDR. So that's a fantastic start for him and exactly what he needed. Muffin as well up the front. Gets himself into P2 there, ahead of Corgi, so this could be a very interesting race for Muffin here. It could get very exciting indeed. If he can stick with Kiwi for as long as possible, he might even be able to challenge for the win. It looked like he had the pace to stick with Corgi, and there wasn't much difference between Corgi and Kiwi for pace in the last race. Around the outside for Corgi there, great exit there for Muffin. He's going to look for a move potentially on the main straight. They're side by side as they come down, but it looks like Kiwi Räikkönen is offering the tow to his FSR teammate in Corgi, and that's going to force Muffin down into P3. They head through. Is Muffin going to go for another move? Corgi looks to the outside of Kiwi there. Muffin's going to sneak back through yet again. He's on the outside for turn 2. Turn 3 gives him the inside, and it might be the Lightning Motorsport driver of Speedy there coming through for P3 as well. Can't quite get it done. But Muffin settles back into P2. This is a fantastic drive in the Alliance vehicle here for Team 53. He's had a fantastic run so far. A little bit of latency issues there for Kiwi Räikkönen in front. Hopefully that's not too much of an issue. Muffin looks to head through the hairpin nice and cleanly. There's a little bit of contact in the background there. GDR is up to 4th place there. This is looking very intense. This is about to get very exciting for our drivers here. We look back now on board we'll jump on board with Muffin here. GDR looked for a move there on Corgi, but couldn't quite make anything happen. Down to T1, no moves being made. Looks to the inside for GDR on Corgi. He's going to go for that second position. He's got the outside for turn 2 and the inside for turn 3. Not quite enough overlap. This might be enough to drop these guys out of the slipstream of Kiwi and Muffin. 7 tenths is the gap. That 0.75 is what we're looking for. They're side by side through, and they're outside 8 tenths of a gap. This could be what changes the race completely. Look at this battle pack. They're jostling for position as they come through the downhill section. Up to the hairpin now. GDR leads the group. There's a bit of contact there between Muffin and Kiwi as well. Didn't quite see what happened there as they head through. But GDR leads the second pack, and he is now within range of Muffin again following that mistake.
They're definitely racing more aggressive.
They're very aggressive this time around. And with GDR in the pack, you cannot afford to keep your elbows tucked in. You have to get them out because GDR plays for keeps. He's a very aggressive driver, but he knows when to make a move and when not to make a move, and he's really pushing right now. He wants this win. He wants this championship. It is his championship to lose at the moment. Come down the roller coaster again. There's still a decent gap between Muffin and GDR. We look to the inside, not quite. Goes a little bit deep. Corgi and GDR still jostling for position here. Oh, that's really awkward latency there for the Dadson Racing driver as they come through past the pit wall. That might be a little bit unsettling for Muffin, but he's going to have to deal with it now because this is the way the race is going to continue on. But this battle is looking fantastic. GDR's dropped off the back a little bit. He's not quite fallen out of range of the slipstream though. Through the real turn 2, past the wall of champions.
Kiwi's really getting some pressure off Muffin this time around.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to let him
Muffin is, oh man, I'm so impressed with Muffin this race. Or this season rather. He's just been so aggressive. He's had so much pace on tap, and he's really taken it to the big dogs. You know, Kiwi and GDR and Corgi, they're, you know, some people deem them untouchable, and Muffin is putting his foot down and saying, no, I can touch them, and he's really making a good race of it now. He's playing it very sensible as well. He's happy to sit behind here and hope to let Kiwi pull him away from GDR there. Corgi as well, interesting that he hasn't gone for a move on GDR as of yet. He's probably playing a little bit of a safe game because GDR is just about on the edge of dropping out a slipstream of the drivers in front. And look, a little bit of a moment there between the two of them. A lot of slip and slide action there, and GDR's lost the slipstream again. This could be very frustrating for Corgi here. A little bit of contact on the way through. That's very, very easy to have contact through that particular corner. Side by side now for GDR and Corgi. This is not going to help their race. This is not what they need. They need to work together to stick with the guys up the front because Kiwi clearly has fantastic pace. He was able to outpace Corgi consistently through the previous race. GDR might have had enough pace to stick with him, but because he was stuck down the back of the track, we couldn't see it. And now GDR's getting held up by the black light driver.
Do you think this is some team play between the FSR boys?
It could be. They could. I believe they're on the radio to each other because, given their strategies in the past, most of them would require radio communication. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they are talking to each other and you know, working out moves based on that. Corey Hatt goes for a move on Speedy in the background there as well, but I don't think the FSR guys will be completely will be manufacturing everything that's going on in this race at the moment. I think
not completely.
Corgi's main intention right now is to catch those guys up the front, and you know, he's not just doing this to hold GDR up. As much as that would help Kiwi, I think Corgi is thinking of himself here, and that's the right thing to do at this point. And yeah, like Lucas says in chat as well, Corgi and GDR are separated by 2 points in the championship standings. So this is it for these guys. You know, this position matters. Kiwi can win and still not be leading the championship after this one, but out of GDR and Corgi, oh, there's a moment there for the Lightning Motorsport driver, and there's more further back as well. A lot of guys nice and sideways through there. Well, not nice and sideways because it ain't nice at all. But Speedy got sideways and it looked like his teammate as well. Sticker's had a bit of a moment there too. It's all on in the mid-pack at the moment as well. So much action at the front. We've missed, you know, we've missed everything that's been going on here. But it's no walk in the park in the midfield as well. Karen up to 7th. Great drive from him for the call up on from Group B. A great drive from him so far. Really looking to cement his position in Group A, I think. Corey Hack is still within range of GDR, so this could be a really good result for him if he can get his head down and do what he needs to do. Muffin still with a 1.5 gap back to Corgi. He's working together with Kiwi, and Kiwi's got that pace, you know. He's really got something in the bag for this one. So this could be Kiwi's race to lose and Muffin's P2 to lose. In fact, Muffin could even challenge for the win if he manages to stick with Kiwi all the way to the end of the race. It's looking very promising for Muffin. Corgi's managed to pull a consistent gap to GDR behind, so he can now not look in his mirrors as much and push on ahead, try to catch up to the guys in front. Looks like GDR might be struggling for pace a little bit. How are his tyres looking?
GDR's tyres are quite worn, especially the left-hand side of his car.
How does he compare to Corgi?
Corgi, little bit, tiny bit worse. Not much though, they're pretty much...
Okay, so I think Muffin might have made a mistake here. He's gone out for an extra lap, and without that slipstream advantage that that Kiwi's been giving him, this could be very interesting to see if he comes out still within slipstream range of the FSR driver. So this could make or break Muffin's race here, I think. Depends if Kiwi comes out in traffic as well. Looks like pretty much everyone's pitted though, so Kiwi's nice and clear. So now Muffin really needs to sort this out, get this lap nailed down, and smash it through. If he makes a single mistake, it could be curtains for his race. Through the hairpin he goes. Does he come back for a late apex? He's doing alright. And into the pits he goes. Kiwi with a 2-second gap to Corgi. I think Muffin might come out. I think Muffin can just about guarantee that he'll be out in front of Corgi. But the question is, how close will he be to Kiwi, and could that seriously change his race?
Gonna be close.
We jump on board now with Kiwi Raikkonen as he heads down the pit straight.
Captain's
There's
out.
Muffin. He's going to sail right by him. Does Muffin get close enough to grab that slipstream? No, he doesn't. He's outside of second range. Alright, so it looks like Muffin might end up getting caught by Corgi after all. Because there's only a second between them as well. It's a disastrous change in strategy for Muffin here, and a very interesting development for the race as a whole. Can he catch Kiwi, or will he be caught by Corgi? A little bit in no man's land right now, but there's a very small and ever decreasing gap to Corgi behind. Corgi's dropped GDR like a bad habit though. He's done a fantastic job here to pull away from the Ragged Edge driver, who currently leads the Red Mist driver of Corey Hack, who's having a great race so far, really mixing it in with the big dogs, as you like to see. Speedy, after his unfortunate incident, currently sits in P6, a little bit on his own. He'll be hoping to catch up to the guys in front if there's any fighting going on, but it looks like he might be stuck in the position he's currently in. Very close little battle pack here, led by Nux with D-Flow Karen, as well as Old Wakey in the group of 4 here. Any one of these guys could take position at any point. Here we go. Muffin is still managing to hold a slender margin to Corgi behind, but he's falling away from Kiwi up the front, so it looks like Kiwi might have this one in the bag now. Here we go. What's your defensive skills like, Muffin? Are you going to defend from Corgi, or do you let him have it? Jump on board with Muffin, looking back at Corgi. Does Corgi go for a move early on? Go for a late dive? No, he doesn't. He holds firm behind. He'll be thinking about it on the next lap. We head through 1.6 seconds separating them from Kiwi in front. It might be in Muffin's best interest to let Corgi through here and grab a toe, but let's see if that's the strategy he decides to adopt. Up towards the final corner. Does Corgi go for a move? He doesn't. He stays to the outside. He's going to look for a cutback and to get a run on the main straight. The gap to Kiwi has been very stale over this entire lap. Barely lost a tenth there, has Muffin, so he's done a fantastic job here. We jump on board now as Corgi looks to the inside, goes through. Muffin very much just lets it happen. And now he's going to grab a toe.
Also snags the fastest lap with that.
Corgi with a .374 now. What was GDR's time in the previous lap? Because in the previous race, I think it was a .371. Whatever it was very close.
Yeah, very similar.
It was a .37 something if memory serves. So
yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see which one of those is claimed, and that could make a very big difference to the championship fight in the end. Now, I think Kiwi could still be caught if Muffin is going to work together with Corgi here and bump him along on the straights instead of going for a move. So this race might not be over. There you go. There's the bump there. Look at the gap come down to Kiwi Raikkonen in front. There you go. So they are going to work together. Let's see what they can do here. Corgi's got great pace so far, managing to pull away from GDR, who's currently stuck in 4th place and struggling to make inroads into the drivers in front of him. Kiwi's pulled away nice and resoundly. It looks like he might have this one wrapped up, unless the two behind him have anything to say about it. And GDR,
I think they've got a nice little train from 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, this pack of 4 or 5 cars has been together most of the race. There's a bit of contact there between Karen and it looked like Old Wakey. No, D-Flow, yeah. Might have pushed him off track there, but no redress. D-Flow rejoins and he's still within range of the pack, so he might be able to make inroads as of yet. Speedy currently leading this group ahead of Nux in P7. Nux might be able to steal a P6 here if he gets his positions right. Corey Hack has gone for a move on GDR and managed to steal position from the 2-time champion.
We've just been told as well, GTR's fastest lap was a 3.5.
So GDR still retains the fastest lap point unless anyone changes it from here, which I don't think they will. And it looks like Corey and GDR are making inroads into Muffin and Corgi. Muffin, who's just about fallen out of slipstream range of Corgi, he's just going to be able to hold on though. Look at that gap come down, 0.65 now. He's just within range. And GDR goes back up the inside of Corey Hack there at turn 1. Let's have a look at a replay now of the move as it was prior. This is how it unfolded a lap before. Corey with an identical move as to what we've just seen up the inside of GDR there through turn 1. A great move, and we've just seen that reversed, of course, by the Ragged Edge driver. Up to P4 now. This is very important for the championship, of course. GDR needs these points if he wants to have a shot at Corgi, who is going to be leading the championship after finishing ahead on track in this particular race. The gap to Kiwi has only gone up, so it looks like it's all said and done for the Dadson driver out front. However, Team Blacklight has a lot of pressure from Team 53 here in the form of Captain Muffin as they head through turn 1 for the 19th time. No position changes this time around for GDR and Corey.
The cars are pretty much identical with tyres and fuel. There's nothing in it.
Wow, so it's a level playing field all the way to the end now.
Yeah.
Muffin's still sticking in range of Corgi. This is a fantastic drive from Muffin. I can't overstate how well he is performing strategically and on pace as well. He's just doing everything right this race to get to where he wants to be. And GDR just does not have an answer for it. speaking of GDR having an answer, he might have an attack on his back from Corey here. Not quite close enough to go for a move, and I think Corey's only really going to be able to make a move stick if it's up the inside, so he's going to have to get that right if he wants it.
And what's doubly impressive with Muffin is he's constantly driving on the back of somebody's rear bumper, which isn't the easiest thing
No,
to
absolutely. He's mastered the art
yeah,
of driving in the
yeah.
dirty air and taking advantage of that slipstream, although, however, he has fallen off the back of Corgi a bit here, and he might actually be out of slipstream range for this lap, so this could make things very interesting. If GDR is able to get close enough, he might be able to go for a move at some point.
He might have hurt that left rear just a little bit more, which could have caused the light drop back.
So 1.2 seconds now, the gap to GDR. It's coming down very quickly. Only 3 laps to go here for these drivers. So GDR's got to make something happen very quickly if he wants it. Can Muffin hold on to P3? We look back now on board with the Muffin Man. They head up to the final corner with 2 renditions to go. GDR getting very close, but he's not quite within slipstream range, it looks. No, he is. He's close enough to smell the toe. 0.67 is the gap. It's going to come down all the way to turn 1, but he's not going to be able to be close enough to go for a move this time around. But next lap, it could be all on. Muffin looking to chase down Corgi. GDR looking to chase down Muffin, and Corey is going to look to take advantage where anything happens here. Any one of these guys could take P3. GDR into the wall! GDR hits the wall at the Wall of Champions, and it's all over for the Ragged Edge driver. He'll have damage all over the car. That's throwing away any hope he had of a podium. Absolute disaster for the Ragged Edge driver. As we look here,
That was just, I think, christening the world champions, but actually a champion hitting
true,
it.
yeah, a champion has been claimed by the Wall of Champions. So the first sniff of dirty air through that corner, and GDR goes a bit wide, straight into the wall there, and unfortunately drops himself back. He hasn't lost too much time, but it has slowed him down enough. Muffin retains P3. Corey is still in with a shout here. This will be the final lap. Kiwi leads the way with 2.3 seconds to the drivers behind. Corgi in P2 with 1.5 over Muffin. Muffin with ever-increasing pressure from Corey. Can Corey launch a move into the hairpin? We jump on board with the Muffin Man. Look back. Does Corey look to the inside? He does. Up the inside he goes. Muffin's going to get the exit though. He does indeed. Kiwi Raikkonen will take the spoils for the Super Cup here at Sector 1, P1 for the Datsun racing car. Corgi P2, Muffin P3, Corey in P4. GDR will be disappointed with a P5 there. He's lost out on a lot of points that he may have needed. Nux in P6, a fantastic result for him. Same for Stickers. Karen with a P8 on his return to Group A. D-Flow with a P9 after being demoted all the way to the back of the grid in the first race with an incident. Speedy P10. RDP 11, Old Wakey P12, and Lucky P13 a lap down. Wow. That could not have been much more exciting, could it?
No, what a race. Championship changing, is that?
Absolutely championship changing.
Yeah.
Yep, I think with that one, we've seen a change in the championship lead at the very least. Corgi will jump up to the top step of the championship. Kiwi Raikkonen, of course, takes the most points there and will close the gap to GDR ahead of him now. Muffin with a P3. We'll head over to your results screen. Muffin there in P3, a fantastic drive, did everything right just about. A couple of little mistakes which are what dropped him out of the slipstream, but he has absolutely mastered the art of sitting in the slipstream of a driver in front and using that to their advantage. And I see Muffin in the chat, and I agree with that. He is also my driver of the day. Corey in P4, also a fantastic drive and a result that he needed ahead of GDR, someone who he probably did not come into this race expecting to beat, as well as Nux and Stickers and Karen P6, 7 and 8. Down to P9 and 10. D-Flow and Speedy, great races from all of them. Still within, pretty close margins to the leaders there, across most of the board there. So everyone's driven a fantastic race, but you can't take away from Muffin what he did tonight. He really put himself in exactly the position that he needed to be, and had a great result to boot. What do you think, Cruisin'?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty clear-cut driver day. To really hang.
It's hard to argue anything else, eh? Although Kiwi was absolutely dominant.
And he stuck with some really fast, well-known sim racers for pretty much the entire time.
Yeah. You see FSR at the front of someone's name, you know that they mean business. Yeah. So, and Muffin he's been in Group A for a fair while, but he's been sort of mid-pack towards the back most of the time, and this season he's come on really strong, and this race he's just blowing everyone away. I think that's a fantastic result for him. He's done an amazing job in that one. But Corgi and Kiwi locking out the front row there, and Captain Muffin, I think that might be his first podium in Group A Super Cup, so a big congratulations to him. But yeah, a fantastically exciting race for the evening. I hope you all enjoyed. If you are new to the Sector 1 Sim Racing channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. We are a live streaming channel, so you want to be notified every time we go live. That is one of the most important things to have there. And like the broadcast, if you have enjoyed, apologies for the odd video quality. We've had a couple of settings changes in the Streamlabs area, which we'll have to rectify in time for the next one. And thank you very much for joining me tonight, Cruisin'. First time in the box. You did a fantastic job. It was great to have you here.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
All right, and very well done, and no hiccups in the race as well. So next week we will be returning to Sardinia C for Group B Super Cup and Group B Challenge, so don't miss the action there. But for now, this is goodbye from Sector 1 Sim Racing, and we will see you next week.